All right. We are back again. We're doing this again. I don't know what happened, man. They sniped. I told y'all. Um, OBS kind of kicked me off, or I don't know who could kick me off, OBS or who, but either way, we're back. I'm give you guys some time to fill back in, cause I don't know what the heck happened. I don't know what the heck happened. I'm trying to get everything set back up. OBS doing me dirty. I was cooking a little too hard. They didn't like it. They're over there hating on me. All right, let me know if you guys can hear everything. I'm gonna let you guys get signed back in, and we'll continue from where we left off. I might have to start the whole stream over from the beginning. Yeah, man, it looked like YouTube did something. I don't know. Like, well, I'll say this. I logged into OBS and OBS was messing up. OBS was messing up from the beginning. So I probably should have restarted my computer. After, like, typically you have to restart your computer from every stream, but OBS kind of crapped the bed on me. So I'm back. I don't know what the heck happened, but we are back. So I'm just getting everything set up, getting all my tabs and everything set up. All right, so can you guys hear it? Can you guys hear everything? Is everything good to go? It's like OBS, they sniped me, man. They sniped me. I was out here cooking. All right, so we left off. I think we left off at put this over here. I think we left off around the Charleston White video. Right, we left off around the Charleston White video, and then OBS decided to crap the bed, and I can't even get the other stuff. I can't even get, like, in my other accounts. I can't even see myself. They got me. They finally got me. So, anyways, give me just 1 minute. I'm gonna get everything loaded right back in, and we'll take off from where we were. We'll just take off from where we were.
Big Pharma wants you to take pills for fungus. This fighter chose a better way. Hey, man.
All right. So, yeah, man, OBS is dope until it's not. Like, it's great until it's not. So, anyways, okay, we were talking about Charleston White. And we were talking about all the women who date, like how they date. Let's replay that video.
The only way you can not be emotional is you have to have a father who teaches you and trains your emotion. Other than that, your mama, you have to be emotional because that's the only time your mother whoops you. You got no spankings when your mother was calm and not emotional. So that's why you're emotional. You were disciplined with emotions. You weren't disciplined with logical rules to follow. You got spanked when you were frustrated. You didn't get spanked calmly and taught why you were being spanked. So you can't undo this, homie. What's done now, we can't undo this. We'll be dead and gone before we see a new group of men that don't respond like us. Man, that's your mama acting out of you. You didn't disrespect me by locking the door because I walked by. That's that woman in him. A man does not respond like that, especially not to another man. The niggas you see doing that, that's that hoe in them. So that's why you always see the niggas who got daddies seem a little bit more cooler, a little bit more collected than the niggas who cute like they mamas.
Okay, so that was Charleston White.
The only way you cannot be emotional is you have to have a father.
Seen this video. Now, I was saying that all of that was in conjunction with this.
I find it funny how you can show your butthole to the world as an 18 and 19-year-old and make money, which is basically online prostitution, for being real. But if you talk to a girl that's 18 or 19, you're a creep because she's a kid. So what y'all telling me is y'all allowing children to run corn? Is that, like, that's what I'm saying?
All right. So now that we're all back, now that we're all back, this is where we got started, right? This guy was talking about how essentially in today's society, we allow women to put themselves out there, and we allow women to, monetize themselves on the internet and everything like that. But then we turn around and get mad at men for indulging in it and looking at it and stuff like that. And then you fast forward to what Charleston White was saying, right?
The only way you cannot be emotional is you have to have a father who teaches you and trains your emotions.
Now, he's talking about the lack of fathers in homes, mostly in the black neighborhoods, right? What I was saying before OBS decided to crash or YouTube decided to snipe my stream, what I was essentially saying was, when you break this all down, when we give women their own autonomy, and we give them their own rights, and we say, yeah, you can do whatever you want, this is what happens. You have women who go out there and they go to school with LeBron James, but they won't date. They're not dating LeBron James, right? They don't want to go out there and date LeBron James. They want to date somebody else. They want to date LeBron James. They don't want to date the guy who does all the math. They don't want to date the chess champion. They don't want to date the math guy. They don't want to date the guy who's going to go become a surgeon, essentially, right? And that has its own set of consequences that come with it, mostly in the form of that person getting pregnant, in the form of that person having kids that guy is not going to take care of. That guy's going to abandon his kids, so on and so forth, right? So this is why it's so important. I'm not going to say that we take women's rights, but we have to start rethinking female bodily autonomy, right? Because at the end of the day, what comes of it? At the end of the day, what comes of it? We give women, we tell women, oh man, you guys can do whatever you want. You're strong and you're brave and yada, 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 so on and so forth. But how do we rein them back in? How do we get anything out of them? Right? How do we get anything out of these people in terms of responsibility? We don't. We can't. You can't force responsibility out of people when you have never held them accountable. Right? You told them that they were strong and independent and brave and all of this. Now you're trying to tell them no, stop, and don't when their kids are acting up. No, they've never known accountability. So why would their kids know accountability? Right? This is where it all starts. This is where it all comes from.
Decent men will not stare at you in public. Do not date the guy that's been staring at you for 20 minutes. It is a red flag when a man can stare at you without feeling some sort of discomfort when you notice them and then they don't stop. There is a list of issues that man likely has wrong with him. Decent men will not stare at you in public.
Okay, so now we got this lady, Australia, another Aussie from down under. And this lady is saying that a decent man won't stare at you when you are in public. Now, here's the problem. How is that person dressed in public? Because if you're dressed to get attention, you're certainly going to get attention. Like, why would you not get attention if that's how you're dressed? Like, you decided to put the clothes on and wear them outside and go out in public, right? So now we have women saying, hey, you shouldn't be staring at us. We can wear whatever we want, but you shouldn't stare. It just flat out doesn't make any sense. So, Byro said, if a man doesn't look at you, you know you're chopped. Yeah, you have this whole thing on the internet where women are talking about, oh man, I want people to, why aren't men approaching? Why aren't men approaching me? But at the same time, you're over here talking about we shouldn't be staring at you. So if we shouldn't be staring at you in public, then how are we going to approach you?
Not date the guy that's been staring at you for 20 minutes. It is a
Now, first of all, nobody's staring at somebody for 20 minutes. But like I said, if you walk out the house dressed a certain way, people are going to stare. Like they're going to keep doing double and triple takes, right? They're going to do it because most women go out with the spandex, painted on pants. They do the workouts, they do the squats, so their butt is just so perky, and you got the quads going and the glutes, and then they have on a sports bra. It's like, why are people not going to look? Why are men not going to look? Like, they're going to look. But see, this goes back to that culture of degeneracy. We have a culture that tells women you can walk outside naked and you can dress however you want, and nobody's allowed to look at you or say anything, right? It doesn't make sense. Then when that woman goes out the house naked and she is dressed however she's dressed and she's looking however she looks and she gets approached by the bad boy, that's the guy who she's going to go home with. That's the guy she's going to have the one night stand with, or that's the guy she's going to sleep with for a prolonged period of time. That's the guy that's going to give her a child. And then what happens? What happens after that? We go round robin. This is where we get the kid that has no father figure, and she only disciplines the kid when she's upset. Like, it's a never-ending cycle. You give women the ability to govern their own lives, and then they make bad decisions, and then it's everyone else's fault. It's your fault that you're staring at me. It's not my fault that you're staring at me, even though I dressed the way I dressed. How is that even possible? Like that, it doesn't make sense when you break it down logically. But once again, for the most part, women aren't out here using logic. We don't force them to, right? We don't force them to. This goes back to the very first video where the guy is talking about how are women allowed to do OF while at the same time we don't hold them accountable when older men look at them. The older man is the creep because he's looking at the girl, but the girl is not at all at fault because she's dressed how she's dressed. Like, this doesn't make sense. From a multitude of directions, it doesn't make sense. But this is the society we've decided to live in. This is the society we've decided to prop up. Pyro said, if you look good, people are going to look at you. What type of logic these women are on? They're not. It's not logic. Like, they want it both ways, right? They want to be able to go outside dressed however they want, and they don't want men to look at them. But at the same time, they do want certain men to look at them. At the same time, other men that they don't want to look at them are the bad guys when they do, right? They only want certain people to see them. Like, I want to go outside and I want to get the attention that I want to get. It's like, that's not how it works. It's like walking into a store expecting them to have only the things that you want. Like, that's not how things work. You live in a society. You got to deal with everybody in the society. But there's nothing we can really do to make women understand that. It's almost impossible. It's almost impossible to make women understand that you are required to deal with everybody in a society. But this goes back to giving them rights. I'm not telling you not to give women rights. I'm not saying women shouldn't have rights. I'm saying as a society, we have to stop babying them on the reality of their own decisions. You start an OF, older men are going to look at you. Older men have the money to spend on the OF in the first place. It's not young guys who have the money. And people get mad at this. like the past couple streams I did, I was talking about how women don't want to have sex with their husbands. Like, they get married and they cut the sex off. Okay, well, then that guy decides, well, I'm not going to divorce you, but I'm going to stay doing this. I'm going to keep, I'm going to keep doing other things. Like, I'm gonna keep doing subscribing to OnlyFans and watching prawn and stuff like that, and then you get mad. You can't get mad when that happens. That's not how it works. But you see what I'm saying? Like, we don't have a society that wants to tell women the truth. Had to turn my sound up a little bit. We don't have a society that wants to tell women the truth. And everybody's going to suffer because of this, right? Everybody's going to suffer because of this. And before OBS sniped me, or whoever sniped me.
Yeah, don't become a passport bro, kids. Don't do it. If you're lonely and a bald old white man, go to Turkey and get a hair transplant instead of going to Philippines and finding a young disadvantaged wife. Then when you get your Turkish hair transplant, you can come back here and get a wife you don't have to gaslight. Okay, passport bros?
Okay, so we had this Asian lady, and I don't know how many of you guys.
Yeah, don't become a passport.
I don't know how many of you guys were here the first time I played this. Like I said, OBS sniped me or YouTube sniped me. I don't know. Anyways, we had this woman. She was talking like the same thing. Like, she's trying to discourage men from going to other countries and getting a wife, when at the same time, women are happier single in America, according to them. Oh, we're happier single, and women are so strong and independent. They're so much better than us. So it's like, why would you want to marry a man when in your estimation, you're so much better than all the men, right? It doesn't make sense. Like, we don't have logic. We don't make women stand up to the logic of the things that they say. Like, it's like, nah, I think I'm gonna grab my passport.
Decent men will not stare.
This is part 4 of what women wish their male partners knew about how female desire works, and it's all about initiation. So asking your female partner out of the blue if she wants to be intimate will typically be met by resistance. Not because she doesn't want to, but because for her, it feels like she's expected to go from 0 to 100 immediately. It's jarring, it can feel like pressure, and honestly, it skips over all the conditions that her body actually needs to want to be intimate in the first place.
Okay, so this is what I was talking about. Pyro said, if you stay here and get married and she leaves you, I can't say I never told you. This woman right here who's talking and making the tea, she's exactly why men don't want to get married. She's exactly why men want to go other places. This woman is talking about how essentially she doesn't want to sleep with her husband, and women and wives don't want to sleep with their husbands. I told you guys, if you were here, Wednesday? If you tuned in for the Wednesday stream, we did a few of these kinds of videos, and I was saying, when you get married, you give the woman all the leverage. So essentially what she does, she thinks in her mind, I won the game. I don't have to play the game anymore. So she rolls the keys. She turns the car off, right? Y'all are still driving down the highway. She turns the car off. She's done with the marriage. Once she's got that, she turns it off. So you'll see these men who are in marriages with no intimacy, they're in sexless marriages. What do? They go to OF. they start watching only fools, right? And that's where we get this from. But then we have women like this making tea time content talking about, oh, you gotta warm your wife up and you gotta coax her into intimacy. Ain't nobody trying to do that for 20 years.
Because for 85% of women, desire is responsive, which means she might not know if she's a yes until after she feels safe, connected, relaxed, warmed up. She's not withholding from you.
She might not know that she's a yes until after you make her feel safe and you get her warmed up and you get her relaxed. This sounds like a lot of work. You know what this sounds like? It sounds like the perfect reason for a man who's married to go to OF. Like, bro, who wants to deal with all this? Like, I'm not telling you to cheat on your wife. I'm just simply saying, this is what you're marrying in today's day and age, right? And you got to really, really think. If you marry a girl, she's 27, 28, 29, how many other men has she been with that didn't have to do all that? And she was with those guys for years and they didn't have to do any of that. You marry this chick, you give her a kid, you buy a house with her, and then all of a sudden you got to do the hokey pokey every time you want to get some sex. Like, bro, I'm not, like, come on, man. Where's the agency? And there's nobody that's going to tell a woman that nobody's going to say, you got to have sex with your husband. And I know there's a lot of religious people. I'm a religious person, but the Bible can't make a woman have sex. I've read that verse in the Bible too about husbands and wives not withholding intimacy from each other. But you can't use that to get no sex off your wife. Not once she starts doing this. Oh, I need to feel safe. Were you feeling not safe? Like at some point in the day, did something happen? Like, what are you talking about? I need to feel safe. Do I normally not make you feel safe? You're at your, like, you choose to live here. You willingly choose to live here with me. What is this safety thing? It's just words. It's just buzzwords. So when you get married, this is what you have to deal with. Tea time buzzwords. I need to feel safe and relaxed and all of that, but you didn't need that for Chad or Tyrone. And it just doesn't make sense that you're telling me you need to feel safe. You're not in danger. I need to feel connected to you. We're married. It's like, what are we talking about? It said OF has a lot of married men on it. The overwhelming majority of people on OF, like the subscribers, is married men because they're in sexless marriages. Ray said, I think God has abandoned us if he didn't exist at all. No, people abandon God. They abandon their principles, right? People abandon God. Like if you are a Christian, if you are a Christian or any kind of religious person, the overall theme of religion is always the people walk away from God, right? This is what I'm talking about. This woman is withholding sex from her husband because she don't like him in the first place. But why doesn't she like him? Because she was a godless woman to begin with. A lot of women like this, they start off as a Sophie Rain. They start off as the girl who was in high school getting touched on by all the boys, having all the fun, and then they cashed out with the nice guy, right? This is what happens. They cash out with the nice guy. That's not the natural order of things. Her father didn't choose her husband for her. Her father didn't go out there and say, you're going to keep yourself pure so you don't know the touch of a man. That way, when this guy who's a nerd, when he starts touching on you, that's like, it's pleasurable and it's good to you because you don't know anything else. But women get mad when you say that. And it's like, this is why we end up with OF. Because these women, I need to feel safe and connected. What?
She just genuinely needs some additional support for her body before she's open to saying yes.
I need some genuine support for my wallet before I spend money on you. How about that? How about I need some genuine support for my ears before I listen to all your mindless dribble throughout the course of the day? How about that? Like you can't withhold anything from a woman, but she can withhold that from you. She can put all kinds of stipulations and requirements on you getting intimacy, but you can't put any of that on paying the rent, buying the groceries, so on and so forth. But y'all want to get married.
So instead of trying to change her or taking it personally, work with her to understand what she might need to be more open.
What about working with him? Like, why is it always on the man to do more for the woman, but it's not ever on the woman to do anything for the man? I'm not telling you guys to not get married. I'm just telling you, when you see stuff like this, for all of you people in the chat, I'm going to replay the video.
This is part 4 of what women wish their male partners knew about how female desire works, and it's all about initiation. So asking your female partner out of the blue if she wants to be intimate will typically be met by resistance.
It's typically going to be met with resistance if you just walk up on her expecting sex. That's what you are marrying. Most men get into a relationship because they don't have the ability to get as much sex as they want outside of a relationship. So they say, okay, I'll split the difference. I'll commit all my time and all my energy and all my efforts and all my money to this one woman, and I'll get all the sex I can handle. Then you get tea time with Debbie, and she's telling you, oh, trying to get sex out of me out of the blue is going to typically be met with a no. Ma'am, we are adults. We are adults, ma'am, and you are my wife.
Not because she doesn't want to, but because for her, it feels like she's expected to go from 0 to 100 immediately. It's jarring, it can feel like pressure, and honestly, it skips over all the conditions that her body actually needs to want to be intimate in the first place.
Her body. It skips over. I want you guys to notice the language that this lady is using. She says, coming to me trying to get sex, you're skipping over all the conditions that my body needs. She's trying to separate her body from herself. Like her body. Women do this. They do this. They disassociate. Oh, my body is not the same as my mind, is not the same as my personality and my spirit. They do this. They do this very often. So you have to do things to please her body. Now you've done all these things to please her body in order to get sex. But then she'll say, well, you haven't pleased my mind. You're only treating me this way because you want something from me. If you guys have never been in a relationship, that will happen. I promise you it will happen. That's one of the biggest reasons why I'm not in a relationship. That woman will say, you're only being nice to me in order to get sex. And it's like, yeah. And then she'll get mad, she'll shut down. So you did all this stuff to get her comfortable, to get her relaxed, to get her in the mood. But then she says, well, you don't care about me. You just care about my body. Ma'am, you don't care about me. You just care about my wallet and the fact that I'm willing to work until I die. That's what you guys are marrying. That's what you guys are marrying. Pyro says she settled down with the guy why they should have been with in the first place. Hold up. So she settled down with the guy she should have been with in the first place, but went out with the bad boys, bums, and mostly losers. That's exactly what she did. She settled down with all the bad boys, the bums, and the losers, and the guy she should have been with in the first place. She just like women keep that in their back pocket. They keep nice guys in their back pocket, in their orbit, to make sure that they don't fail. Women don't want to fall. They don't want to fail, so they'll date all the losers up front, and then they make the bad boy, or they make the good guys actually commit and give them stuff. Red said, if he can't get it, why marry? I don't know. You tell me, because that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of men don't understand that they're not going to get more once they get married. They're not getting more. You're getting substantially less. You are getting substantially less. Pyro, thanks for the $2, man. He says, I will tell them you are a liability to me, miss. She is. This woman's a liability. This woman is 100% a liability. She's telling you that in the confines. I want you guys. I'm gonna restart it one more time, and I want you to hear it for yourself.
About how female desire works, and it's all about initiation.
Initiation, right? You come home from work. You want to get some spicy time with the woman you married. You got a house with this woman. You pay her bills. You're willing to take a bullet for this woman. You're willing to fight grizzly bears and whatnot for this woman. And all you want is some spicy time after work. You've been looking forward to this all day. Keep that in mind. The only way you get it is you got to initiate it. Okay.
So asking your female partner out of the blue if she wants to be intimate will typically be met by resistance.
It will typically be met with resistance. Fellas, we all have ears. We all heard what she said, but are we all comprehending the gravity of that statement? Oh, you just work however many hours? Oh, you just paid all the bills? Oh, you mowed the lawn and took out the trash and did this and you did that? I'm just not feeling it. I'm just not, nah. And she said that's what's typical. She didn't say when she's stressed out. She didn't say when she's getting ready to go on her period. She didn't say when she's coming off her period. She said this is what is typical with your female partner. This is typical. You know what's typical for me? Typically for me, it takes like 12 minutes to get to the highway, because from my house to the highway, there are exactly 6 traffic lights. And the distance between the traffic lights is roughly 30 seconds, and I always get hit by every single traffic light. It's a good exercise in patience, but it typically takes me about 10 to 12 minutes to get to the highway. That means every time I drive, I got to put up with that. That means every time you try to get some sex off your wife, you got to put up with that. Because it's typical. Are there times when I go to the highway, when I get ready to drive someplace and I get to the highway in 5 minutes? Absolutely. But is it typical? It's not going to be typical that your wife is like, yeah, let's do it. Why'd you marry her?
Not because she doesn't want to, but because for her, it feels like she's expected to go from 0 to 100 immediately.
It's a chore. It is a chore. Your wife giving you intimacy is a chore. Oh, so it's a chore. She feels burdened by giving you intimacy. You married this person and she feels burdened by giving you intimacy. It's because she doesn't actually like you. You're not Chad, you're not Tyrone, you're not whatever big, strong, tall guy. You're just some schmuck. You were her last choice. You were her final option. That's what you are.
It's jarring, it can feel like pressure, and honestly, it skips over all the...
It's jarring and it can feel like pressure. You're putting pressure on me. Didn't you put pressure on that man to marry you?
conditions that her body actually needs to want to be intimate in the first place.
It skips over all the conditions that her body needs. Fellas, let me ask you something. Are there any conditions that your body needs to go to work other than to, be alive? I'm alive and I can walk, and I guess I'm not dying of 104 fever, so I guess I'll go to work today. Like, what are we talking about?
It's because for 85% of women,
85% of women, this is going to happen. You got to be, come on, 85%. If I gave you $1 and said I'm going to take 85% of it, you would be left in shambles. You wouldn't have. This is 85%, and it's typical.
desire is responsive, which
Responsive.
means she might not know if she's a yes until after she feels safe, connected, relaxed, warmed up. She's not withholding from.
When women say stuff like responsive desire, what that means is you have to do something to please me. I'm going to put intimacy in your hands. If you make me happy, then you'll get intimacy. If you do the right things to make me respond to you, then it's like it's like a Rubik's Cube that changes every day. Like, it's a new puzzle. It's a new lock. Every day you got to put up with this. My desire for you is responsive. Lady, I saw you coming out the shower and I was ready to go. That's my response to seeing you come out the shower. Well, that's not what I need. And this is also why your wife is going to cheat on you with the guy at work. This is why it's so detrimental to let your wife have work husbands and to let your wife have like personal trainers and stuff like that. This is why women cheat, because their desire is responsive. Oh, well, this person did these things. He said these things. So now I was open to it. My desire is responsive. I responded to him. He made me do it. Like, oh, get out of here. He said she can at least use her hands. No, no. Man, women don't want to give you nothing. Women don't want to give you nothing. Pyro said, I know what I would tell her. I would never marry you if I would have never married you if I had to go through this. Most men don't find that out until it's too late. Because you know what's crazy? Women don't just shut down after like the first year of marriage. This is like year 5. Maestro said, "Hey, I'm back. Yeah, I'm back. I'm back too. They shut me down. Were you here earlier when they nuked my stream? They nuked my stream like I was one of these doom monsters. But welcome back. Welcome back. But yeah, no. Most men would not marry their wives if they knew they were going to have to go through this, right? Most men would be like, nah, I can't do it, bro. And you can tell that this woman's not ugly. She's not ugly, right? She's not ugly. So you're going to have desire for this woman. Mastro said, the war stopped. The countries agreed on the truth. That's what we like to hear. That is what we like to hear. So in case you guys don't know what Maestro is talking about, India and Pakistan were bombing each other. They were going to war. And there's a lot that goes behind that, so I won't go into it. But I guess he lives close to that. And we don't want war, especially between nuclear powers, because India and Pakistan both got nukes. So they agreed to a truce, and we can get along peaceably now for the foreseeable future. Thank God. Said Red said, I thought I was thinking that my internet was bad, not the stream. No, it was on my end. It was on my end because like I have monitoring devices. Like I got an iPad over here, I got a Samsung phone over here, just for variety, and they all just shut down at the same time. I'm like, like I got my phone going on the 5G, so it's not putting a burden on the Wi-Fi, and it just crapped the bed. It just completely crapped the bed. So, and like I said, it was the It wasn't even YouTube. It was on my end. It was OBS. Like every time you stream on OBS, you have to reload your computer to like dump all the bad stuff. And I had been streaming, but I'd also been like loading videos in and had stuff going, and I was testing stuff out, and I didn't reload it, and it crapped the bed. So. He said, I saw you put up a stream for 5 o'clock yesterday, then disappeared. That same thing. Like it kept doing that, and I didn't want to hop on at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And it was a brain fart. I just forgot to reload the computer. Like, and oddly enough, I'm using a Mac, which you typically don't need to reload Macs, but OBS is fickle. So I couldn't figure it out, and it just kind of crapped the bed. I was like, okay. I'll go ahead and reload the stream. I'll reload the computer. So lesson learned, but we're all here and we're all listening to Sexy Red tell us about not giving her husband sex.
She just genuinely needs some additional support for her body before she's open to saying yes.
I really just wish men could talk like this. I really wish men could say stupid stuff like this. Like, what? I need some additional support before I'm open to, buying groceries and paying electric bills and whatnot. I need some motivation. This is ridiculous.
Very strong. I have a very close relationship with my church. And I love God. Like I believe that he will forgive your sins for anything. And I think that he's happy that I'm successful. I do like a little video call because I'm currently living in Miami, but I used to live in Tampa. And that's like my home church. I love that church so much. And my pastor that is there, I can't listen to another pastor. So I watch like the little Sunday video thing that they do because they live stream it on Facebook. Very strong.
Ladies and gentlemen, the fall of Western society. Sophie Rain. This woman is talking about being an OF super ultra megastar. She made $50 million on OF from mostly married men. And she's talking about how she loves God and she thinks God is okay with what she's doing. Do you guys understand? Do you guys understand why society is beyond help? This woman says God is happy with her success. Ma'am, can you show me what verse God said he is happy when people take their clothes off for money? I'm pretty sure the Bible speaks explicitly against promiscuity and putting yourself out there, fornication, right? In case you guys didn't know, Red said, "Wait, how is she a Christian?" She's not. She's not. Christianity has been infiltrated by the thoughts and all these crazy people. She sounds like a religious zealot. She sounds like a religious harlot. Drunk Vigo, he said, every decent looking white girl is on OnlyFans, brother. Yeah. I mean, it's where they go. It's where they go. I want you guys to listen to what this woman said.
Very close relationship with my church. And I love God. Like I believe that he will forgive.
Okay, so if you say you believe God will forgive, then inherently you know what you're doing is something that needs forgiveness because it's wrong. So you know what you're doing is wrong in the eyes of God. But she's just like, oh man, God is cool. He'll forgive me. That's not the point. Like, you're not, like, if you know it's wrong, God is going to forgive you when it's like, okay, you didn't know what you were doing or you were overcoming something, but that's not what, like, you were making a living off of this. And they said, and then they promote their OnlyFans on Chatterbait. I don't know which one of them sites is worse. It said it's people like this giving Christianity a bad name. It's exactly people like this. It's exactly people like this. Because I don't know if you guys read any Greek or anything like that, but in the Bible it talks about thou shalt not fornicate. Like, that's sex outside of marriage. So that's meaning any sex outside of the confines of marriage. But the Greek word for fornicate is porneia, pornography, right? So you're not even supposed to be looking at explicit images. So this woman is out there just putting herself out there. I don't think she does scenes with guys or even girls, but she's still taking her clothes off. And she's like, oh yeah, God is cool with this. God is cool with this. God don't mind. God is my homie. Like, bro, this is what happened. Do you guys ever notice that every culture, every religion says the same thing when it comes to women and sexuality? They all say the same thing. They all say the same thing. Drunk Vigo said, young teen girls are wanting to be the next Bonnie Blue and Lily Phillips. You know, I think it's actually worse than that. I don't think it's worse than that because I don't think that that's what they want. If we're just being honest. See, Bonnie Blue and Lily Phillips are actual corn stars, right? They're actually doing scenes and they're doing stunts. And these women are a little bit older. Like, I want to say they might be pushing 30 or like later 20s. They have an older mindset that says, hey, we got to go out here and do these stunts. This girl, Sophie Rain, she is keeping herself in a status where she can still monetize on places like Twitch, because she'll come on people's Twitch streams, right? So she's not doing all the crazy stuff. I don't know if she herself has a Twitch, but I know people have had her on. I know she's live streamed. I know she does the gamer girl stuff. So she's maintaining herself in a status of monetizing. She can be monetized. She can be monetized on places like Twitch and YouTube. She is monetized on places like Twitch and YouTube. Bonnie Blue and Lily Phillips can't. So they are thinking with a way more radical thought process. And she's actually making more money. So there's a finesse to the game, right? So Bonnie Blue and Lily Phillips, those two are, they're just slores. Those are slores, right? Nick said, the young ladies don't know they're being manipulated into looking up to these women. They don't know no better. It's sad. Well, see, here's the thing, and I actually have a video that kind of proves what I'm about to say, but you guys have to understand, most of these women like this, they get started so early. They don't know. And it's because they're raised by an overbearing mother who doesn't care. She's overworked and she never cared to be a mom. And they have a weak father, if they have a father. So there's no real guidance. These women have no real guidance. So they start jumping off the porch 12, 13, 14, right? They're getting touched on very, very early on in life. So their idea of sex and intimacy is skewed. Like we always say that it's boys who are the nasty ones, but most boys, the overwhelming majority of boys, don't have access to sex. They don't have access to intimacy until they get older, 14, 15. And like once they start hitting puberty, it's like, okay, is this guy going to be tall? Is he like the star of the basketball team? Can he dunk a basketball? Football, is he the captain of the football team? That's when the boys start getting access. If they're cool. If the boys are cool, okay, yeah, maybe. But the overwhelming majority of males, like middle school to early high school, they have no access. But almost all the girls, as soon as they start developing, they got access. So they have a skewed vision. And we live in a world today that says we are not allowed to judge women. You're not allowed to judge a 14-year-old girl. You're not allowed to tell her that she's out there dressing the wrong way. If you say, I don't know where you guys live, but what does everyone say when a 14, 15-year-old girl goes outside and she's dressed inappropriately? And let's say she's, we're going to keep it PG. Let's say she's well developed in the chest, maybe in the buttocks, the thighs. She's 14, 15, maybe 16. What happens if you say she's dressed inappropriately? If you say that teenage girl is dressed inappropriately, all the women and all the weak men are going to say, why are you noticing her? Why are you looking at her like that? That's what they're going to say. Why are you noticing her and why are you looking at her like that? You shouldn't be looking at her with those kinds of thoughts. Why are you having those kinds of thoughts? Right? So when young girls know that they can walk outside dressed however they want, when they know from a sexual standpoint they can act however they want because they can't be judged, especially by men, they're going to do whatever they want. And then the only thing you can do as a man is clean up the mess. Right? That's the only thing you can do. Right? He said no one's going to tell her. No, they're going to tell. Like she's going to learn when it's way too late. Superficial observer says, in light of the fact that society is cooked, what do we do with our lives? You level up, right? You do as much as you can to put yourself in a better position from a standpoint of, let's say money and finance, right? You want to start outpacing the foolishness because maybe Generation Alpha will be better, right? Maybe they can be saved, but you have to understand that this current generation of people, they're going to drag society backwards, right? They're 100% going to drag society backwards. And what I was saying at the very beginning of the first stream that I won't say it got sniped, I guess I messed it up. What you have to do is you have to be strategic with what you're doing in your mind. From a mental standpoint, you have to declare war on today's modern society, right? You have to identify these modern women, these modern thought processes, these modern groups of people, the woke. You have to identify them as enemies, not to be attacked from a kinetic standpoint, but from them to be attacked from a standpoint of you elevating your mind, right? When you define your opposition, you can make direct efforts to either defeat them, elevate yourself, move past them, right? You can't just put your head in the sand and say, oh, it'll be okay, because it won't be okay. Like you see, society is cooked. You have to have a pragmatic mindset, right? You have to have a pragmatic mindset. You all like as a man, right? As a man, you have to start making realistic efforts. At the beginning of this stream, I was telling people, I don't think a whole lot of people were in the stream, but I was saying, what you guys want to do is start making content. Like start doing something to level up. Everybody is making content on something. Everybody is making moves in some direction. Make moves with them. 30 days, right? For the next 30 days, start making content. Do something on Twitch. Do something on YouTube. Do an IRL. Stream 10, 15 minutes. Nobody, if you don't have a following, it doesn't really hurt you to do it because nobody really knows you anyways, right? But you have to start now with a mindset of I'm going to make some sort of move. The move you make might not be the right move, but it's better than just standing there drowning, right? Are you referring to spiritual warfare? There's spiritual warfare too. I'm talking about mental warfare, spiritual warfare, not necessarily social, because social warfare can lead you down a dark path. Like that can lead you, right? Let's say economic warfare. You simply want to look at what we have going on today and understand that you have to escape. So what does it take to escape a lot of things, right? If you live around a bunch of black people and you want to escape all this foolishness, you have to have money to escape it, right? So you have to start saying, okay, I'm going to put myself in a position to where I don't have to live around these people. I'm going to put myself in a position to where my kids don't have to live around these people. Everything about you has to be disgusted by everything about them. In this case, we're talking about the OF harlots, right? Everything that they are has to disgust you. Okay, so what does that mean? I got to be careful about the stuff that I watch. I'm not following any of these people. I'm not giving any of these people airtime unless I'm getting some sort of money and talking about them negatively, right? You just have to become more aggressive. You have to become a lot more aggressive in your desire to get past all of this, because it's not going to fix itself. So you have to take action steps within your own life, right? And I can't necessarily sit up here and say, oh, I have the solution, right? The solution is to make more money and get away from these people. The solution is there any way you can build a brotherhood? A lot of people don't like talking about stuff like this. If you're young, do any of your friends think this way? If your friends are thinking in the opposite direction, do you have enough contact with them on a consistent basis to get them to think differently so you guys can move as a unit, a cohesive unit together, right? It's always easier to accomplish a task when you have people with you who are moving in the same direction, right? And especially if you're young, Hard Nine said there's something is wrong with a society in which one has to be rich in order to live in a civilized neighborhood. Well, see, here's the thing, Hard Nine. I've said it once and I'll say it again. America is not really a country, right? America isn't a country. America is a corporate entity that is being bought and sold by the highest bidders. And we are not the highest bidders, right? The people of America don't care about that. Like I said before, can you show me the other countries in the world that have a criminal justice and prison industrial complex? Like nobody else has that. We monetize crime. We want degeneracy. We want crime because we can make money, or certain entities can make money off of it. So America is like a backwards place. America is a very backwards place. So, right, America is a really, really backwards place. So this idea that, you're not going to have money to get where you want to go, that's not the case, right? That's never going to be the case. It says, you mentioned that Generation Alpha might be saved. Is salvation something we should pursue? Is the purpose of making content and moving as a brotherhood saved? Well, I'm talking about saved in terms of, like, if you want to go to church, sure, go to church. Like, we could talk about spiritual salvation, but what I'm essentially talking about is I'm talking about saved in terms of what we're going through now. Like there might be something that wakes them up. If like Gen Z. Gen Z is diverging. Like the men are going hard right and the women are going hard left. But they're not going fast enough. And Gen Z, for the most part, they're already ruined. Now you do have the possibility that Generation Alpha, they might be so radicalized and they might be so dejected on what America is that they might be the generation that can recorrect the course of the ship, right? Like buying houses. Everybody knows you ain't buying no house unless you inherit it from a boomer. Like if you got some boomer parents, you might get a house. Generation Alpha might be the first generation that says, you know what, I don't care about all the luxuries and I don't care about this and I don't care about that. They might be the ones to call out the foolishness. Because right now, Gen Z is knee deep. Like this girl right here, Sophie, this is Gen Z.
Your sins for anything, and I think that he's happy that I'm successful.
This woman thinks God is happy that she's taking her clothes off and corrupting the youth and everybody else. Right? That's Gen Z. That's how crazy they are. Generation Alpha might. I'm not saying they will. They might. I personally believe at the age of 40, I can tell you right now, I will be a shriveled old man before I see a generation that actually has its head on straight. I'll probably be dead. It will be at least 30 years. It will be at least 30 years before there's another generation. That's why I'm saying, like, for you, you have to make sure that you are comfortable with that fact. Now, you got to make sure that you're not skipping over that fact. It says crime is very much monetized by the police, courts, prisons, and the private contractors that serve the prisons, the real estate, industrial complex, etc. Yeah. Well, like America makes money off of poverty, like because poverty brings various forms of suffering, right? And then you have to pay to not suffer, right? And then people can raise prices and they can make money here and they can make money there. But America's the only people who do it. Think about that. They don't do that in Brazil. Think about our prisons. Our prisons should be wastelands. It should be like you should be petrified of going to prison. In America, nobody's scared. Like nobody is scared. Nobody is afraid to go to prison because the prisons are comfortable here. You got all the rappers who rap about, yeah, I've been to prison. I don't care about going to jail. Show me the Filipinos that say that. There ain't nobody wants to go to jail in the Philippines. Most countries, people don't want to go to prison. But in America, it's monetized, right? So this is why I say, like, I would challenge you guys to do something. I don't know what it is that you do, but you should be kind of restless when it comes to the pursuit of, I'm not going to say the pursuit of more, I'm just going to say the pursuit of putting yourself in a better position, right? Put yourself in a better position. Surround yourself with better people. If you have people that you're around, you go to school with people, be the one that's banging that message into their head. And if they don't want to change, you might have to, you are going to have to cut those people off. Pyro said, I saw your guys' prisons. It's way too clean. Yeah, and you in Jamaica, ain't you? Like, man, American prisons are like luxury spas. They're like camps. It's crazy. You can't scare off crime. You can't scare off criminals. When somebody go to jail, there should be a genuine fear of not making it home because the prison is so rough. Like, man, people be... It's America. It's America. It says, superficial observer says, torn between trying to win the war and trying to escape. I mean, the social war can't be won. We're already past the point of no return. Because you have to think, Gen Z is graduating. And Generation Alpha will be the first generation in human history that will be born into a monetized sexual marketplace, meaning all the girls that the young guys go to school with, they're on Instagram, they're on social media sites, and they're monetizing themselves. They're getting money, right? Jack said, how do you define degeneracy? Things that walk heavily against conventional social norms and things that are things that are objectively destructive to society, right? Allowing women to just freely sexualize themselves is something that is objectively destructive, right? When we have an OF culture, when all the girls can sexualize themselves beginning in their teenage years, that's degeneracy. And it's marketed, right? There's like in America, there is no desire for something better. There's no desire for something better. I mean, okay, so Jack says, I mean, modern dating is certainly not worse than ancient Rome. See, here's the problem with that assertion. Ancient Rome gave rise to everything we now know as Europe. The world we live in now, there's nothing that comes after this, because at least even in ancient Rome, there was the thought process of a future. There was a thought process of a man getting married and having a legacy, right? Like, they did some degenerate stuff, but they were still reaching toward the future. Nobody's reaching toward the future. People were still getting married back then. In ancient Rome, women couldn't just be free agents. They couldn't just do as they saw fit. They still needed a man to get through life. And so you could only be degenerate for so long, and then you had to come together and I always say cash out before you crash out. So the women had to cash out at some point in time. So the degeneracy had to stop. In today's day and age, they don't have to stop. All right? Jack said, why are you only focused on women? The BS, there's no desire for something better. I see many more videos complaining about women than I do see people promoting women being on OF. The problem is you can't stop women, right? We can stop men. Whenever men become a problem, we can rein that problem in. When men become criminals, what happens? We send them to jail, or we take them off the census. When women become criminals, when they become problematic, there's always a way out, right? When men are a problem to society, men go to war amongst themselves to correct that problem. But when women become a problem, how do you correct the woman problem? Right? That's why we talk about women. Like, we can talk about men, but how do you solve the male problem? You solve men with force. When men decide that they're not going to do right, you solve it with force. Oh, you don't want to act like this? Okay, let me get my sword, and I'll be right back. We can talk about it. Right? That's how we solve male problems. We write a law and say, thou shalt do this, or thou shalt get messed up. That's why we talk about the women problem so much, because it's a problem that's unsolvable and people are pissed off at it. But I have digressed.
This comment says there's a correlation to white women having to actually do domestic work and the rise of convenience food. They always needed help. Oh yeah, like slave in a box. Oh, y'all ain't know about slave in a box? Come here, come look at this here. In 1888, the Pearl Milling Company created a self-rising brand of pancake mix. And to promote it, they used an image from old vaudeville and minstrel show posters. And they named her Aunt Jemima. And to further market it, particularly in the 1950s, when white middle-class households first started losing domestic labor, they started marketing it as slave in a box, because the pancakes, the hot cakes, the whole cakes, whatever you want to call them, they came out so good, it was like having a slave right in your kitchen. So to the trad wives making the Little House on the Prairie content, blaming feminism for why they have to go to work, a better concept to criticize is capitalism. Because after the fall of free or cheap domestic labor, instead of trying to become more active participants in the community that is your household, they decided to be hyper-capitalists instead and create a bunch of products to fill those gaps. Automatic washers, dryers, dishwashers. That plus that cute little invention called the microwave, baby! Yeah, we also get a bunch of convenience food, which are just hastily modified versions of old family recipes that they stole from the Black and brown domestic workers. So.
Okay, so beyond the obvious race bait, there's a very important message here. And the very important message is, this is exactly why women are not getting married today. It's the convenience. What this woman is saying is there's a direct correlation between the rise in technologies and stuff like that and women not wanting to work. Like, white women have always had, they've always needed help. They've always had help. And when that help goes away, all of a sudden they don't want to do anything. This is where you get the whole culture of, women talking about domestic labor, the mental load and working and stuff like that. You don't hear any of this from Hispanic women. So this is why, 45% white people, 45% of your population, they don't want to get married. White women don't want to get married. Right? So it's all about convenience for them. Like, they've always been, like, white women have always competed against white men, which I feel bad for you white guys. Y'all can't catch a break, right? So that's what she's talking about, but she's 100% right. She's 100% right. Like, women don't want to be wives. Like, they want to compete against men, and they want this convenient world. They want this convenient life. It's a horrible, awful deal for everybody involved. He says, I miss Aunt Jemima. I miss her too. They just took her away. Man, COVID did a number on the world. Superficial Observer says, please elaborate on why free sexualization is objectively destructive. Okay, so let's take it like this. Let's say you have a group of young men. Let's say you have 30 young men, and 20 of those young men, they're tall, they're handsome, they're good looking, they're fun to be around, but they're not all that smart. These guys are good enough to be, cops, maybe, firefighters, maybe, but definitely maybe they can, they can dig some ditches. They can work on a road crew or something like that, but they're not ever going to be high performers in society. But like I said, they're tall, they're handsome, they're strong, all of that. Now the other 10 guys to round out the 30, let's say these guys are a little bit shorter, objectively like less attractive, but these guys are brilliant. They're very smart. Mathematically, they're very, very smart. When we allow women to choose for themselves who they're going to date, the smart guys, their genes die out, and all we have is knuckle-dragging troglodytes. Because the women are all going to choose the tall guys. And even if those shorter guys do eventually get to settle down with the women, those women have been corrupted by the better men, the physically better men. And what they're going to do is they're going to end up destroying that man's legacy. Let's say that guy goes out there, he has some kids, he wants to teach the kids to be smart. What happens? She destroys the household, divorce court, all of that. When you freely sexualize your society, what ends up happening is women get to be the choosers. They get to be the ones that choose whose genes go forward. I want you to think about this. If women just decided we're going to start approaching men rather than men approaching us, how many men do you think would get left out? The overwhelming majority of men would get left off the list because women are only going to choose the best. You already see we have the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. 80% of women only want 20% of men. And realistically, it's like 85-15, maybe even 90-10. Women only choose the best. So when you have free sexualization, guess what happens? the most desirable men for society, they end up dying out. Look at the black community. I don't know superficial observer. I don't know what your race is. I don't know if you're black or white. I'm clearly black. Let's look at the black community. Why don't you have more responsible people in the black community? Because we have free sexualization in the black community. Women are allowed to choose whoever they want, and they only choose the thugs. They only choose the worst guys. They choose the kind of guy who's going to raise a son to go out there and poke somebody with a sharp object at a track meet. Carmelo Anthony. The nerd, the doctor, the guy who is doing everything the right way from day one, the guy who comes from a two-parent home who's emotionally mature from an early age, they don't choose that guy. They're not choosing that guy, and that's the reason. When we say that there's free sexualization, that means there's no restrictions on it. That means women can choose for themselves. But when they choose for themselves, they always choose in a manner that is destructive overall for society. Right? Women are the choosers. They're always the choosers. Women sleep with who they want. Men sleep with who they can. Right? So that's going to be destructive. That's going to be an overall destructive thing to society. And then you also have to think from the standpoint of advancing society. When we want to advance a society, what do? We get our best and our brightest, right? In order for you to get married, it used to be that you had to be a somebody. You had to get a good job. You had to be educated. You had to come from a good background. You had to conduct yourself well in society so people didn't think ill of you. But when we sexualize everything, guess what happens? Women are only choosing the best men. So the men who act, or they're only choosing the physically best men. So the men who actually are the better choice, well, guess what? They don't get anything. They're not the exciting guy. So in society, we have this reduction in quality of people because what people see is, oh, women like thugs and drug dealers, so that's how I'm going to act. So the guys who would have been good, they lower the bar for themselves and they act stupid. Right? So I assume they marry and have kids with different people. Well, you have to think. I'm going to assume you're talking about like the 10 theoretical nerds. That's not necessarily how it works. Because you got to understand, in a free sexual society, those 10 nerdy guys who would make the best fathers and the best providers and they would make the best product for society. No women want them. No women want them, right? Because all women gun after the same kinds of guys. Because in a free society, all women think that they can qualify for all men. This is why you see that even on Tinder, even in today's society, you don't see the nerdy guy or you don't see the less attractive guy. You don't see the good guy winning ever. Because the girl that would be in his league, that girl is getting accessed by a guy who's way up here. Right? So it's free society. Right? Like we are currently in a free society. All the RP talking points are talking about the consequences of a free sexual society. When we don't put stipulations on things, everything goes out the window. There is no law. There is no order. There's just degeneracy and destruction. And how do you rein it back in? And this goes back to, Superficial Observer, when he was talking about why are you guys only talking about the women? How do you rein it all back in? You can't take it away from women. Right? This is why child support court and family court is more beneficial to the woman. They're not going to punish the woman. They're going to punish the man. And then when enough men get punished, they should get the picture. Oh, snap, we got to change because the women can just do whatever they want. And there's no penalty for them. Like, men are supposed to get the picture, but they're not getting the picture. They just keep repeating the cycle. So we're never going to break that cycle, so to speak.
Real men.
That makes sense? Was that Jack? My bad. So that goes back to what Jack was saying. Like, oh, why is that so bad? This is why it's so bad. So we're actually living. We're actually living it right now.
Real men love to see their women happy. That's what makes them feel masculine. What can I do for her? What is gonna put a smile on her face? What can I do to make her think of me? And she's just like, that's what real men do. Little ass boys, they think, what can she do for me? Or what can I do to get her upset? So if he's doing one of those things, that's not a real man. A real man want to see how he could benefit your life, make you happy, and uplift you, elevate you.
Okay. So we're going to come back to this. Was it Superficial Observer said, how will the best and brightest have any impact/influence on the future if they do not marry or procreate sex or take charge of social institutions? Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Once you make the society this way, it's over. We're past the point of no return because we can't rein women back in. So they're not in a normal society. The best and the brightest furthers the society because those are the ones who can actually get married and have the families. And so all women are going to look at them. They're going to look at the women who got married to those guys, and they're going to say, I want to live in the suburbs like Debbie. I want to have the car like that. Like you go back to the 40s or post-World War II. You go back to the 50s and the 60s. The best and the brightest men were the ones leading society. And then once we get to the 70s and it's like the hippies and this free sex and all of that, that's when society starts going down because there used to be a standard. So when there's a standard set, only certain men are going to make the standard. Only certain men are going to make the cut, just like a football team. Only certain men are going to be the starters. Only certain men are going to be the playmakers. Right? Only certain men. Pyro said, I'm the second guy. Hey, I'm going to be right back. I got to pee. I've returned. All right. So you guys see, in that kind of society, there's no way, right? In a society where the women can just do whatever they see fit, there's really just no way for us to have any kind of standards. Yeah. So let's do this one more time.
Real men love to see their women happy. That's what makes them feel masculine. What can I do for her? What?
You guys notice that in today's day and age, the mark of a real man is always, what is he going to do for me? Right? It's just not what he can do for society. It's like, what are you going to give to me? And we never hear what a real woman is. Right? We never hear anybody talking about, well, a real woman is always what a real man is. And a real man is always giving to a woman, doing for a woman. You shouldn't be happy unless you're doing something for me. What are we talking about?
What is going to put a smile on her face? What can I do to make her think of me? And she's just like, that's what real men do. Little ass boys, they think, what can she do for me? Or what can I do to get her upset? So if he's doing one of those things, that's not a real man.
Okay. Now, I'm going to scooch this over here.
Decent men.
The only way.
Where's it at?
This is part 4 of what women wish their male partners knew about how female desire works. And it's all about initiation. So asking your female partner out of the blue.
Okay, so on one hand, we have the Real men do X, Y, and Z. And on the other hand, we have the woman who is married. She does not wearing her ring, but she is married. You have this woman who's married, and she's telling you, "Oh, I don't want to give you guys sex." In case you guys weren't here, this lady in redhead, this was the woman who was talking about typically women don't want to have sex with their partner. 85% of women, according to her, 85% of women don't want to just have sex with their guy. They need to be warmed up, and you got to do a whole ritual and all of that. And then this woman is talking about real men do things to please their woman, and yada yada yada, and so on and so forth. See, this is what you're getting yourselves into. This is what you guys are getting yourselves into when you date these women. They turn into this, right? Or they turn into that. Right? So this woman that you're fighting to please, oh, you should be pleasing me. Then you get into the relationship and she shuts off all the sex. So what was even the point of pleasing you? Superficial Observer says, a veteran pimp once said, America creates tricks and hoes. Yeah, it does. Like that's the world we live in. America is all about transactions, and that's what it is. It's all about And the funny thing is, when you go to other countries, it's the same thing, but they're more open and accepting of it. They understand what the deal is, right? Like this lady over here talking about real men do things to make you happy and all of that. That woman is going to be the 304, and then the woman who with the red hair, she's going to be the woman that ends up marrying a trick. Because like this is the result. This is the result of the free sexual market. The lady in the purple over here, this woman over here, she's going to be the one that all the jocks and the nerds are going after. And then she's going to turn into Miss Tea Time over here. She's going to turn into that. They always do. You're going to be doing all of this stuff to impress her, and you're going to be doing all this stuff to get her. You're going to get her, and then she's going to shut down the sex. She's going to shut it straight down. She says she is right about the process. She's right about the process of sexual arousal for women versus men, because for women it's more like the volume control on the stereo. For men it's more like a light switch on or off. That's true. That's 100% true. But most men don't understand that. And so this goes back to, I guess, the other guy's point. In a free sexual society, men are just trying to get sex by any means. And what happens is they don't understand that that's how women actually work. So they're over there breaking their back to get with this woman. They get with the woman, and what happens? She hits them with I actually need you to warm me up, and I need all these things. I need you to do the hokey pokey. I need you to do the dance. I need you to do all the things. Right? There was nobody there to tell this person, hey, women aren't that special. This is what they actually are. They actually operate like this. So like the lady in the purple, or whatever color that is, she's saying, oh, a real man wants to please me. So you want to get sex at any cost. So you do everything you can to please this woman. Then she turns into Big Red over here, and you didn't realize, oh, Big Red is the one who's actually telling you the truth. If your mom would have told you that this is really how women are, you wouldn't be in this situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, you wouldn't be in that situation. But now you are. But so you're 100% right. Women do actually operate like that. But most men just don't get it. Most men don't understand that that's how life really operates. So it just makes more sense. Like, this is why we don't want to have a free sexual society, because we end up corrupting everybody because of this. You should just be doing everything to please me. And then the men are like, okay, I'll go do anything to please you. And then you please this person, and what do you get for it? You get the reality of what women really are. You get reality the hard way, long, hard, cold reality. All right, what else do we got on the docket?
Are you guys related?
We are related.
Sisters, cousins?
This is actually my daughter.
What?
Yes, and she just turned 18.
And what's the wildest thing you guys have seen in Miami so far?
We kind of do the wildest things, so.
Oh. What do you guys do?
I mean, I've walked a few guys on a leash out here so far. She's up next. I'm going to get her to do it too. Maybe
what?
Tangled some people in parking lot.
What do guys get out of that?
So most of the time it's because they have like a little shrimp, so they can't please a woman, and they know that. So the only way they can get off is to like take in the negative, like they
like
want
humiliation.
Exactly.
Are you guys related?
We are related.
Okay, so now you guys see. I don't know where Jack went. He's been kind of quiet in the chat. If anybody knows where Jack is, send him this video. This is what we were talking about. This is what I was talking about. In a free sexual society, this is what you get. Right? This is like the ultimate downfall. There is no coming back from this. Once this starts happening, there's no coming back. Right? There's absolutely no coming back. This woman is an OF. This woman is an OF person. And her whole thing is humiliation. And she likes humiliating guys. And there's a plethora of guys who want to be humiliated. And she has her daughter in on the act.
Sisters, cousins?
This is actually my daughter.
What?
This is actually her daughter. This is her daughter. And you can tell her daughter is black. Like there's a ninja has done his duty over in that direction. Oh my goodness.
And she just turned 18.
She just turned 18 and she's out with her mom doing kink content.
And what's the wildest thing you guys have seen in Miami so far?
We kind of do the wildest things, so.
Oh. What do you guys do?
I mean, I've walked a few guys on a leash out here so far. She's up next. I'm going to get her to do it too. Maybe
what?
Tangled some people in parking lot.
What do guys get out of that?
So most of the time it's because they have like a little shrimp, so they can't please a woman, and they know that. So the only way they can get off is to like take in the negative, like they
like
want
humiliation.
Exactly.
Look at the daughter's body language. Look at the daughter's body language. She's just there. She don't know what she doing. She don't know what she doing. That girl was probably wild, jumping off the porch, acting a fool. And so mom said, you need some guidance. I'm going to teach you how to be a slore, just like dear old mom. That girl needed somebody to, this girl needed somebody to guide her to be a better person. And her mom decided, I'm just going to destroy you at the age of 18. Like, come on, man. Come on. See, this is why fathers are so important. This is why fathers are so, no dad is going to be like, yeah, daughter, go ahead. And no real man is going to be like, go ahead and do that with your mom. Like, as a man, if you know your wife or your baby mom was a slore, you're going to want your daughter to stay far away from that. But the mom, what you guys might not understand is moms and daughters bond over stuff like this often, right? The mom and the daughter will bond over stuff like this. The daughter goes out there, she's acting a fool, and the mom is all for it. This is just, how do you bounce back from this? Like, in a society when moms and daughters are doing stuff like this, how do you bounce back? Like there really is no coming back from it. Like, what kind of mom says, hey, daughter, put yourself out there on the internet in an intimate fashion, sexualize yourself. I mean, humiliate guys, but, Indulge yourself and entrench yourself in the OF lifestyle. Like, who does that? Superficial Observer said, these people are in charge of raising generations, which means that to a certain extent, we will have to live at the mercy of such people. You are 1000% correct. We're at the, this is what happens. We are at the mercy of female foolishness. There is no reversing the course. There is no reversing the trend. I want you guys to really think about this. This woman, the shorter one, her life has been dedicated to debauchery and degeneracy. Now, all of a sudden, she has a child. And instead of saying, hey, child, I want better for you. I'm out here hustling. You remember when there used to be like the noble strippers and the noble drug dealers, and they were like, I'm doing this so my kid don't have to do it. It's like she's doing it now so her kid can do it. I want my daughter to know that this is okay. Bro, what? Like, how do you, as a society, how do you move forward? Where are the doctors, lawyers, and engineers and politicians going to come from? If this is what we have, both of these people can vote. You think they're going to vote for anything meaningful? He said, I agree that there's no coming back from this, but I still feel like an abduction of poverty, of a power and responsibility on our part to simply allow them to have their way with the future. Well, you're not really abdicating. You're not really abdicating because they already have the power. Like, this is why I keep saying, like, what can you really do? Like, you can raise your voice and you can talk about it till the cows come home, but in terms of actual factual action items, it's not a whole lot that you can do. Right? You guys have to understand, women love what they see and what they hear from this standpoint. Like, there is no counter movement. And you have to understand, this girl is 18 and her mom is getting her to do this. So you have to kind of think, there are guys out there who they're going to be attracted to both the mom and the daughter. So the mom has access to young boys. The daughter has access to young boys and older men. Right? Both, they're on OF. So it's going to be older men looking at both the mom and the daughter. And then in real life, it's going to be younger men going after the daughter. These women, they think life is just all good. And most of the men are too weak. Right? Most men are just far too weak to, push back on this. Like, there is no real pushback. I don't see any. And because this stuff is legal, how do you push back on this? Anybody who says this should be legal, like, okay, think about this. If a man went out there and he was like 35, 40, and he started dating an 18-year-old who just turned 18, what would everyone say about that guy? Everybody would say he was waiting outside the high school for her. They would call him weird. They would call him all kinds of things because they would say he was preying on her or he groomed her. What did this woman say?
Are you guys related?
We are related.
Sisters, cousins?
This is actually my daughter.
What?
Her daughter. This is her daughter. That's her daughter. So are you telling me that she did not groom her daughter? How is that not grooming? And it said in the same society, the only men the mom would be getting would be gigolos. In a sane society, but that's not what we are. Yeah, Pyro's right. They'd be calling him a PDF. They'd be calling him a PDF. That's what they would be calling him. But see, here's the thing. The mom is allowed to corrupt the daughter. Right? The mom is allowed to corrupt the daughter. Now, where's the dad at? Probably not in the picture, I don't want to play on stereotypes, but the girl looks black. I mean, she looks racially ambiguous. Her mom's genes definitely took over in the face, but yeah. And this is the girl with the Astro boots. I'm sure you guys have seen her videos if you're on Instagram. Like about a year or so ago, she was walking around kicking dudes in the nuts with the big old red space boots. It was weird. It was a whole thing. Right? So what a lot of people just kind of don't get is once we give women this kind of power, it's almost impossible to take it back. It's almost because now her daughter, like let's say the woman happens to be 36 and the daughter's 18, so she had the girl at 18. The daughter only knows this life. The daughter only knows this life. How do you take away the only life and just say, okay, you got to go 180 degrees in the opposite direction? Man. So when people say like, what's the solution to this? There really is no solution. I don't say that you guys should abdicate power, but this woman has her daughter. This is her daughter out there.
And she just turned 18.
She just turned 18. And she's like so proud that she got her daughter out there on the stroll. She's so proud. Now I'd bet my life when the daughter crashes and burns, when their careers flame out, guess what's going to happen? There's going to be some man behind the scene that nobody knew about that they're going to blame. Superficial Observer says there's no turning back, but perhaps there's a way forward. Yeah, I mean, there's always a way forward, right? The proper way forward is walking away from that society. Like what you guys are going to see is there's going to be a two-tiered society. Just like from a financial standpoint, we are looking at a society of the haves and the have-nots. There's going to be a society of all the OF people, all the people who indulge in that, and everybody else. And it's going to be it's going to be a lonely life for all the people who decide to go with everybody else, or the people who decide to go off and do their own thing. This is why I'm saying you have to be mentally prepared, because when we say a way forward, we're talking about action items. These are going to be the people who vote for UBI. These are going to be the people who vote for communist stuff. These are going to be the people who vote. They're going to vote hard in some direction. They're going to vote for all the stupid stuff. He said, a dude. He said, I can't watch your videos because of all the Doom spoilers. You know what, man? Everybody who I've seen play the game, I was watching Dr. Disrespect play it the other day, and he was basically saying like it's good, it's just kind of repetitive, and it looked kind of repetitive until you get to like later levels, but hey, it looks good. But yeah, I can't really tell you guys what the way forward is going to look like. Like, you're going to have to wait for a humongous religious awakening. And it's going to have to be like a lot of, like, if you ask me, that's your only real hope, is if you find a good religious community and you just throw yourself into that to give yourself some sort of stability and balance, and then you work really diligently to put yourself in a better position. Like I said, build your friends, build your tribe, because the idea that society is just going to fix itself, something bad has to happen for society to walk away from what it has. There's no like, women haven't lost enough. He said I want to play, but spoilers still a thing. Are you able to find a new overlay? I don't know if I have a new overlay. Let me see if I do have a new overlay. I know I have one. Since you're the only one who asked, I will. Where we at? Let me load one in. We'll do it live. We can do it live. All right, give me a minute. I'm gonna load in a different overlay. Scene. All right. I go back to my trusty. I have a trusty overlay. All right. This is The Last of Us.
He is the contractor.
How's that?
I can't lose this job.
How's that?
I understand. Let's talk about this now.
All right. Yeah.
Talk about it in the morning.
Hard 9 said UBI is going to be necessary when 90% of jobs are automated away. So if you really believe UBI is a bad thing, then you should be opposed to automation. That is creating a necessity for it. I am opposed to automation. I just understand automation is going to happen simply because
Please not right now. I do not have the
that's the way we go technologically. Like this is why I'm telling you guys. From the standpoint of the future, it's bleak. From the standpoint of the future, it's bleak. Like there is no way to stop. Like AI automation is just too lucrative. It's too lucrative.
You like it?
Right? There was a guy who wrote an article about the rise of the useless class.
I think it's stuck.
Right?
It's not.
He said, "Hey, I'm gonna just call him a dude said best dad, worst person for humanity." Yeah, Joe screwed us. He screwed us, man.
Yeah, you would.
But no, yeah, like when it comes to the UBI thing, I understand why it would make sense for a lot of people to take it, and it's going to be necessary. But you also have to understand that UBI leads all the way to total government control. He says we're going to live in one of these shelters. Man, I'm telling you, if something ever happens, like if we go to war, like full on World War III, somebody drops a nuke, or the trade, like this trade stuff doesn't get worked out, you guys got to understand it's gonna get ugly real fast. Like it's gonna get crazy real fast. So that's why I tell you guys, while you have the opportunity to work and put yourself in a better position, do it.
Uncle Tommy, what time is it?
I need to talk to your dad now.
A dude said, "I'm a game dev
Uncle
and
Tommy?
see it infesting that space."
Hello?
And now new game devs are relying on that tech before they even begin their mastery. A dude, I have a math degree, and I see AI everywhere. Like these new, everywhere in tech, everywhere in engineering, people are using it. Like it makes everything so easy. It makes it all so easy. It's too tempting, because all you really have to do is know how to write the prompts, and then you just wait for the people on the back end to make the stuff better and better. Right? Whether UBI is or isn't, you are going to have to adapt. Yeah, everybody's going to have to adapt. That's why my message is mostly just, are you prepared? Put yourself in the right mental space now. Because like these girls right here that you see.
Dad?
And what's the wildest thing you guys have seen in Miami?
You got this woman and her daughter. These women are going to adapt to it immediately. Like a lot of men. He said, a dude said, in math doesn't even make it easy. It just does it for you. Yeah, it does it for you. It does it for you. I'm sitting over here struggling to read a real analysis book, and then Daddy? AI is just like, oh, it's this. But yeah, you guys, you have these. You got this woman who her daughter is an OF person. She's on OF. She put her daughter on OF at 18, which means they were talking about it at 16, 17.
It's nearby.
That's going to be your UBI people. That's going to be the people voting for or against UBI. They don't have any foresight to say, oh man, if we vote for UBI, instead of just working harder or getting married, you know, the government is going to have total control. They're not going backwards. Like this is why I always say nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to happen that forces women back to traditionalism. Nothing is going to happen that's going to make women become more traditional and say, okay, you got me. I'll go get married now. We had our fun. Okay, ladies, let's pack it in. That's not going to happen ever. that's never going to happen.
What the hell are you? Call me.
He said my field is. Oh, damn, man. My bad. Yeah. My bad. My bad about the sound. I keep forgetting to turn the sound down. Let me get this right real quick. But yeah, like if you guys think that, because you got to think this 18-year-old girl has her whole life to live, and like her mom don't have her mom doesn't have any kind of retirement plan. Her mom has no plan for her whatsoever. So what's going to end up happening is her mom is going to crash out, and then she's going to be stuck in that life trying to pay for mom when mom breaks a hip or gets sick or gets pregnant or gets, a lawsuit or something like that. So now what? Hey, because the chats are so far away, they're like way over here, and I'm reading them off of 2 cell phones. I'm dying. And the guy's name is a dude. So I'm like, what? That messed me up. He said, we all know women. But thanks for the $2, man. Yeah, hey, I have a math degree, not an English degree. Me and reading are not friends. I can read numbers. I understand numbers. But when you start putting letters up there, it's like, they're going to find out I'm stupid. You know what I'm saying? Because we all know women will stay in their ways even when you call them out of it. Women double down. They don't go backwards. They always double down. It's very rare for a woman to just go backwards. Right? I don't know if you guys ever studied World War II, but when the Germans kicked down the door in France, the French women were like, okay. They was giving up people. They was snitching on folks. They was giving up booty to all the Nazis. They did not double down and stand by their man and die by the sword and all of that. That's not what they do. When hard times come, women take the easiest way out. It's not going to do it. He said, I can read enough. I was like, hey man, I can read. It's just like, I'm trying to read within context and stuff like that. And I'm squinting over here. Me and reading out loud. If y'all want me to do some math, I can give you some Euclidean values and stuff like that, but I can't reading. There and there, nah. But yeah, so let's move on from this tragedy.
And are providers, so go do that job, go learn a trade, go do something.
Well, you said that that's all they're good for.
Yeah.
And what are you good for?
A lot of things.
Like?
I'm funny, I'm smart.
You haven't demonstrated that yet.
Okay, well that's your opinion. I'm a musician, I dance.
You dance?
The list goes on and on.
What a great quality, you can dance. What do you bring to the table though?
What do I bring to the table? Yeah. I'm smart, I'm funny, I'm attractive, I have talent.
I don't know if men are so useless that their only job is to be providing for you. It sounds like you're just a typified eater. Like, I don't know what you're really bringing to the table. You're just kind of consuming resources, right?
I mean, if you want to hear the answer that I could be domesticated and I can cook and clean and do all that, I can.
No, that's not what I'm asking. What I'm asking is what value are you bringing to society?
By being me.
By being you. I'm enough.
I am enough.
Okay.
A dude said, my bad, folks, too talking. No, I mean, it keeps the conversation going. It keeps the chat going. So I appreciate it. Now, you also said, Barbarossa once said something to the effect of humanity being held back by our collective willingness to allow the minds of half our species to atrophy into oblivion. I mean, well, that's the thing. That's exactly what's happening. That is exactly what's happening. Like, I always like to use myself and my people, black folks, as an example. We're letting, 13-14% of the population be the collective anchor of society. Nobody comes here talking about, I want to live next to black people. Nobody. Everybody who moves to America, outside of America, is willing to live next to Asians and Hindus and Indians and everything. Don't nobody want to live next to black folks. Why? Because we've allowed that community to drag all of us backwards. We've allowed it to drag all of us backwards, and we haven't forced them to move forward. Have some move forward? Sure. Have enough move forward? No. And this is what we have with women. We don't force them to become a part of society. We allow them to just sit there like a bump on the stump, and we say, okay, we'll do all the hard work and we'll drag you forward. But then there's no force behind it. Like, hey, this is like, we're going to set the tone for society and y'all are just going to sit there and be cool. So, yeah, like we're allowing society to be drugged backwards. And that's like this guy. He said, see, what I mean, I call them liabilities. If a dude sleep on your couch, put dents in eat all your food in the refrigerator and use up all your you got me struggling, man. Raise up your light bill and don't add no value. What do we do? Hashtag cancel Joe. Come on, man. It said, Hard Nine said, it's off topic, but why do you think the chat box in your in YouTube only works with Google Chrome? If you try to use it with Safari, I'm an Apple user, or any other browser, it does not work. Are you watching on your phone or like a iPad? Because I have that issue as well. Like if you're on an iPad, like I can't even get the chat box to work. And so it just depends. Like a lot of times they'll like Google, like YouTube, right? YouTube will change something, and then they don't say that they changed something, and then you just log in, and then it's messed up on iPhone or it's messed up on Android for like a super long time. Like for the longest time, I couldn't scroll on like Instagram on my iPhone, but I could scroll on my Android. It's like super weird. I speak like crap. We're a match, dude. No, I don't know why. I don't know why it does it. They just update stuff and then it's bugged out. They update stuff and it's a bug. So, but no, this lady,
men are providers, so go do that job. Go learn a trade. Go do something.
Well, you said that that's all they're good for.
Yeah.
And what are you good for?
A lot of things.
Okay. So now we have our quintessential, what do you bring to the table conversation. And see, this is one of those things where I encourage you guys to all accept the fact that women, I'm not going to ever call women useless because they're not. But the idea that women legitimately bring something to the table, you know what I mean? Like no. That's just not how it works. Like what are you expecting women to bring to the table? Because she's going to say all this stuff. I do this, I do that, and it's all worthless stuff. Like, you guys have to understand that women are never told that they're not enough early on. And this is why it's very important that as a man, if you have a son, you're teaching your son, hey, you're not enough just because you exist. Like that, it's not mean, it's just truth. You should want to strive for more. You should want to do more. You should want to be more. But women are never told to do more. And then this brings us full circle, right? This brings us full circle back to the whole topic of what happens when we have a free sexual society and there's no checks and balances. This is what happens. When there are no checks and balances, you have women who say, well, everything that I am is good enough and I deserve and I should have. And they legitimately feel that way because nobody checks them. It's not like they walk through life knowing people are humoring them. They don't. They legitimately think that they are special and that they are the most valuable things. So then you get them in these relationships and they act however they want. And this is the 50% anchor of society. So they start dragging you backwards. And then when you give these people, this is where you get your participation trophy. This is where you get your I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember the participation trophy debates. I remember the first time I ever heard about it, I was in the Navy. It was like my first year or two in the Navy, and they were talking about participation trophies. And I was like, what is that? And ever since then, our society has been collapsing at breakneck speeds because we can't tell. Because like you'll have these women and they have these kids and they want their kids to be raised the same way they were, whether the kid's a boy or a girl, especially like the boys. They don't want the boys to experience any bullying. They don't want the boys to experience any kind of hardship. Truth goes out the window. You can't tell them nothing. And it's because like with women, you can't just bully women. It's taboo. You can't bully them. So all of a sudden what happens? These women reach adulthoods and they think everything that they are is special and to be honored above all of it. Right? It's an absolute train wreck in society. But these are the people who are going to lead their daughters to OF. These are the people who are going to vote for the UBI. This is why what I say, you have to be ready for what society is about to turn into. This is the reason why. Because you have a generation of women who believe that they're all special. And that this woman, he said, what do you bring to the table? And she said, I dance. Listen to this.
Like?
I'm funny.
I'm funny. That's not valuable in a relationship from the woman's standpoint or from the man's standpoint, whatever.
I'm smart.
You haven't demonstrated that yet.
Okay, well that's your opinion. I'm a musician.
How does you being a musician help this relationship? She's talking about stupid stuff. Pyro the Flame Fake said, I just tell them just because they're nice to a woman, that don't mean she will like you. No, that's the fastest way to make a woman not like you is being nice to her. That's the fastest way to make her hate you is to be nice to her. Elijah Wilson said it's because women aren't forced to drop out of school and work on the farm with their parents and multiple brothers and sisters in this day and age, like my grandma, Georgia was. Yeah, well, they're not required to sacrifice. There really is no female sacrifice. Like that's just kind of what it is, because they're strong and independent and they can have the same jobs as men and they can do all of that. So they believe that anything that they are is valuable. Everything that they are is valuable.
I dance.
You dance?
The list goes on and on.
What a great quality. You can dance. What do you bring to the table, though?
What do I bring to the table?
Yeah.
I'm smart. I'm funny. I'm attractive. I have talent.
I don't know if men are so useless that their only job is to be providing for you. It sounds like you're just a typified eater. Like, I don't know what you're really bringing to the table. You're just kind of consuming resources, right?
I mean, if you want to hear the answer that I could be domesticated and I can cook and clean and do all that, I can.
No, that's not what I'm asking.
See, this brings us back to the whole question or the video where the woman was talking about, when a husband wants sex from his wife, she feels oppressed by it and she needs to be warmed up and yada yada yada. It's like, what are you actually marrying? Right? Most men don't understand when you marry this woman, you're not. And this is also why I say there's no such thing as a partner. Imagine marrying this woman and she refers to herself as a partner. Partner in what? Like, you don't bring anything to the table. This is why the titles of husband and wife are so important, because it used to be openly accepted that a wife is not going to do the same things as the husband. She's not going to do the same things. Your wife is going to do something completely different than what you're doing. This is why we need domestication. This is why the man is supposed to be the one working. This is why the woman is supposed to be the one with the kids, but they hate their lot in life so bad. So now all of a sudden this woman is out here tattooed up looking like a coloring book talking about, I bring plenty to the table. I can sing and dance. Ma'am, this is a marriage, not Broadway. We don't need any of that. We don't need any of that. A dude said, but the greatest harm is in them encouraging men to develop dark triad features, which aid in a society's degeneration. This is on both of us, admittedly. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. But see, that's the problem. This is why we don't want women off the chain able to date with freedom, because what happens is they only go after the bad guys. So the guys who would have been good guys, what they say is, I need to act like Psycho Kenny. I need to go act like a thug. I need to do this. I have to be a bad guy to get a girl. And so that's what they do. This is where all your pickup game comes from. I don't know if you guys I don't know if you guys have ever read the book, The Laws of Seduction or something like that by Robert Greene. He's the same guy who wrote the book, The 48 Laws of Power. If you ever read that book, that's all dark triad knowledge, all of it. Now, I'm not saying that he's a psycho or anything like that. I'm just saying, let me plug my phone in. I'm just saying that's where that comes from. Like the pickup game, pickup artistry, all of that kind of stuff, that's where it comes from. You wouldn't need to be a pickup artist if you could get a girlfriend or you could get a wife based on merit. And that's what America used to be. It used to be you go out there, you graduate college, you get a good job, you work hard, you're a member of a church, you're a stand-up member of your community, and you were vouched for. You used to have people vouching for you on your merit. Your merit used to carry you through life. It's not like that anymore. Right? We don't have that world anymore. Is that he talks about the types of seducers. I read his book. Yeah, he talks about the different types of seducers, both on the male and female sides. Like it's not like people have taken his book and what they've done is made their PUA. He's talking strictly from the psychology of how men and women work, right? So he's like the math teacher. And then the PUAs, the pickup artists, they're like the engineer who goes out there and says, I'm going to design a Ferrari, right? They're taking his works and then they're, turning it into something else. And pickup doesn't work, in case you guys, it don't work. Like the pickup artistry is dead, right? None of those guys are actually picking up girls the way they used to be. Elijah said you used to be able to land a woman just based on your ability to provide and being a decent person with the backbone and keep her. Yeah. Like that's what it was. Like if you were able to provide a life, and keep in mind, a life is like saying a dozen eggs. It's like, it's understood that there's 12 in the dozen. So a life means there were certain things that came along with that life. So, right. If you were able to provide a woman a life, yes, that's all you needed. But, the feminism came around and they started saying that every man was abusive. And there were a lot of men who were abusing the system. There were. There were a lot of men who were abusing the system. We said pick up roaches. Pretty much. You got the guys like John Anthony Lifestyle out here banging transgenders talking about he got a high body count. Like, bro, what? What are we talking about? Elijah said, Machiavellianism, yep. But by any means necessary. He said, for the most part, women have caught wind of the PUA's behavior. Well, you know what happened was the men never, men don't understand that when you're out here talking, the women are listening too. Women want to be wherever men are at. So if you make a male space, women are going to flock to it. They're going to absolutely flock to it. Right, and men don't understand that. Women don't have spaces of their own, and even if they do, they don't want attention from each other. They want male attention. So they get into men's spaces and they start changing things and they start doing stuff and they start making things different. And then all of a sudden they start seeing things that they don't like. Like the male, the pickup space was like a male improvement space. Well, women don't care about men improving if it means that they're going to have a leg up. So they got into the male spaces and started looking at all this stuff, and then they got a hold of books like Robert Greene's books, and they started dissecting it, and then they started saying, okay, how can we make all of this negative? This is why if you do anything with a woman, it's considered manipulation. He manipulated me. If you have any kind of leverage, he manipulated me. You make more money than her. He's financially abusive, right? It's like everything is a form of abuse. Anything that gives you a leg up, anything that puts you in a better position as a man over a woman, it's abuse. Like this guy, Andrew, talking about what do you bring to the table? That's abuse. Like if you can definitively prove that a woman doesn't bring anything to the table, abuse. It's abuse. It's absolutely insane. So I see women are dissing dudes who are trying to get girls on the beach. Are you pro incel or something? Don't y'all hate? Didn't you? Well, they don't want men to be able to actually get them. That's what it is. You guys have to understand, women want attention, but they don't want attention from all guys. They only want attention from the best guys, right? They want attention. Like if we're ranking guys 1 through 10 in terms of like, let's say looks, they want attention from guys like 6.5 and up, maybe only 7 and up, right? They don't want every guy to be able to figure them out, right? Like women will legitimately say that you're manipulative and that, like, they will cause a lot of trouble in your life if you're a less attractive guy, and let's say you're really confident. Let's say you're a less attractive guy, you're short, maybe a little overweight, maybe even bald. But let's just say you're a dentist and you own the dental company and you make millions and you drove to Baskin and Robbins on like a Wednesday afternoon and you parked your Porsche around the corner. So you just walk into Baskin Robbins slightly overweight and bald and fat, and there's some women talking and one of your friends are over there and you start yucking it up with him. If one of those women come over there and start talking stupid to you because she's like, oh, he's ugly, I'm just going to treat him any old kind of way. Let's say y'all start going back and forth and you can hold your own. Like you don't back down to her. You're not nice to her. She says stupid stuff. You hit her with that, you hit her with logic. And let's say y'all get into a bit of an argument and you can make her look dumb. She's going to look at you like, how dare you have confidence? Now, she doesn't know that you're a well-achieved guy. She just knows you're short and ugly and you shouldn't have that kind of confidence of, let's say your friend is tall and handsome. You shouldn't have the same kind of confidence as the tall, handsome guy. You should have the confidence of a short, ugly guy. In her mind, she thinks I should be able to insult you and I should be able to give you a hard time and you should just be backing down and you should just laugh it off. You shouldn't be sitting here going back and forth with me. You shouldn't be trying to hold your own with me. It confuses them. It confuses them. They look at it like only tall guys have confidence. Why does this short guy have confidence? So that's why they hate. Well, so he said, Red said, so it's a complex. It's not a complex, it's an inability. Women don't have the ability, by and large, to tell the difference between like good men and bad men, right? They don't have that ability. So they think all men are a monolith. This is why they always say, women aren't a monolith, we're different. And it's like, not really. Right? So they don't really have the ability to tell the difference between the confident guy and the guy that's just faking it. So what happens is, let's say you're short. Like, let's rerun the scenario. Let's say we have a tall guy. He's tall, he's handsome, he's good looking, all of that. And let's say he's at Baskin Robbins. And let's say he has the money, like he's wealthy. He's going to have a certain level of confidence. Let's say he meets some girl and they talk, they hit it off, they have a one-night stand, maybe they have a situationship for about a month, and then she never sees him again. Okay, let's say some time goes by, she's in the same Baskin Robbins. She sees a guy, he's about 5'8", a little bit overweight, balding. But let's say he's also rich. And let's say he's not rich, but he has the same kind of confidence and swagger as the rich guy. In a woman's mind, she's like, I don't understand. Why does he have this kind of confidence? Oh, he must be rich. He must be like the other guy because he has the same confidence as the other guy. So let's say she gives him a shot. They have a one-night stand. Turns out he's not rich. He's just a very confident bum. She's going to feel a type of way. She's going to feel used, even though that guy didn't use her. He was just confident. Women think that confidence can only come in a certain form and factor. It has to be in a certain form factor. It messes them up. It's part of their survival instinct. A lion looks like a lion. A tiger looks like a tiger. A spider looks like a spider. Well, in a woman's eyes, she don't like the chameleon. She doesn't like the guy who can be multifaceted. Like, oh, he's a bum, but he has the confidence of a winner. Right? This is why a lot of times when you step to a girl, like if you go talk to a girl, she will harshly reject you because she has to signal to all the other men, oh no, I would never be involved with a guy like that. Their brains aren't nuanced like ours. Like they can't understand. We understand nuance, they don't. Now they understand nuance when it benefits them. I'm not saying that they're devoid of it, right? They just don't understand nuance when it comes to men. They understand nuance when it comes to them, right? So she believes confidence equals, yes, in a woman's mind, confidence equals competence. This is why in the black neighborhood, once again, you see the drug dealers have money. Now, clearly, these guys are going to end up dead or in jail, but they're confident. They're confident, they're boisterous, they're braggadocious, they're loud, they're out there. They can generally protect her until they can't, right? So who do the women get with? They get with the drug dealers. They get with the bad guy because those guys are confident. So they think that they're competent providers. Meanwhile, you got Michael down the street who goes to school every day who will be a long-term provider, but he doesn't have any confidence with women. So they don't want him, even though he is objectively the better choice. So it's just one of those things with women, man. Like you have to understand the way they look at the world is they're always in survival mode, right? So they don't want things that can shake up their reality. They want things to be very black and white from you to them. Now, from them to you, they live in the gray area, right? This is why, like with women, if you notice when you deal with women, they always want to be in a position of plausible deniability. They don't want you to ever be able to pin them down. What do you want to eat? I don't know. What do you want to eat? Right? Like that seems small and insignificant, but it's not. From the standpoint of plausible deniability, she doesn't want to be responsible for you being upset with what was chosen to eat. Right? So she's down to eat whatever. And you say, okay, well, let's go to In-N-Out. Y'all get to In-N-Out, and there's a Chick-fil-A across the street, and that's what she's going to be on. She's like, oh, well, actually, I want to go to Chick-fil-A. She's not going to be decisive, right? It's the same thing with when you're hitting on women. They want you to set the mood. They want you to say the thing. They want you to do the thing, right? It's like an election. They want to vote for you, but they want you to give them a reason to vote. Give me a reason to vote for you. That way I can impeach you later on. The dude said, women understand confidence that comes from immediate value. Exactly. Not earned value. Women are beautiful, and this is her primary source of value, of social value. Thus, recognize similar states in men, but not earned. Exactly. They don't understand earned value. They don't. But that statement right there, that's also why a woman will have a degree. She'll have a degree in something, and she'll step to a man as though that man cares about it. right? Because she understands merit from her perspective. Men understand merit outright. I understand what it takes to become a surgeon or a pilot or an engineer, right? But when a woman becomes those things, she kind of takes on the masculine mindset. Oh, I'm a surgeon, I'm a pilot, I'm an engineer. So she'll step into her relationship and that will be like a part of her. And it's like, well, it doesn't work that way for men. Like we don't care. we don't care that you're a surgeon. Are we getting spicy time tonight or not? Well, I'm a surgeon, how dare you? What are you talking about? When she says, what do you think? That's just a sign to start steering the direction. Yeah. Well, this is why women like men who just take charge, right? Women want to shut their brain off. If you've ever noticed that, women want to shut their brain off, right? This is why the top men, like the men who women really like, are the assertive men. Women really like assertive men because they make everything happen. They like it's easy to do stuff. Now, I would have to do like a paid content type of deal to really talk about this from the intimate standpoint, because then we get into how women sleep with men, and then we get into the whole, how the things that they fantasize about, and I'm not going to do that on YouTube, but this is where it all comes from. This is why women like forceful men. They like bold and very forthright men, because one, it signals competence, but two, it takes the decision making out of her hands, and it puts her in a position to where, well, if I like this, then we're all good. But if I don't like it, I can get you in trouble. Right? This is where we get to the retroactive consent, right? I'm serious, man. They're like, I'm a surgeon, how dare you? Like, man, don't nobody care about that. He said, don't be like, I don't know. What do you think? Oh, man, women hate that. They hate that. Don't be indecisive.
If you ghost women for decades, what do you think is going to happen? If you take advantage of women for decades, if you degrade women for decades, if you treat women like disposable products for decades, what do you think is going to happen? It is not a male loneliness epidemic. It is the consequences of their fucking actions. It is so fucking cliche to cause a problem and then ask someone else to solve it. And women aren't going to. We're not going to solve the male loneliness epidemic because we've been trying to prevent it the entire time we've been dating. And all you had for us was ghosting and dick pics. It took a really long time to find out, but that was a lot of fucking around, wasn't it? I don't care. I don't care that men are lonely. Do you know how many times I've been on seemingly good dates with men and then just never heard from them again? Do you know how many times a man has pursued me? I didn't do shit. He pursued me and then disappeared. Y'all are lonely? Okay, maybe you should have cashed in on one of the thousands of opportunities that was literally laid at your feet. Oh, we're so lonely. Yeah, why the fuck do you think we were dating, bitch? We were dating to try to find somebody. We were dating to try to prevent loneliness. But men saw it as just a buffet of women to sample, didn't they? But we're not waiting under little heat lamps for you to choose us anymore, are we? No, we became friends with each other and now we hate you. Bye. If you go...
All right, so Pyro the Flame King already got it. She is talking about the top bracket of men. She said several things that indicate she's only talking about the top bracket of men. And this is what I'm talking about. When women are allowed to choose for themselves who they date and mate with, they only choose the top bracket of men, and then they reach whatever her age is, late 30s, early 40s, and they're single and they're still, unmarried and all of that. And then society is on a decline because she only takes the worst possible men, right? This woman only chose the worst possible men. Let's just break down what she's saying.
Ghost women for decades. Who's
ghosting all these women? The average man doesn't have the ability to get women to ghost. That's why we see guys marry the first person who touches their pee-pee.
What do you think is going to happen? If you take advantage of women for decades, if you degrade women for decades, if you treat women like disposable products for decades, what do you think is going to happen?
Okay, what men have the ability to treat women in a disposable manner? Because that's pickup artistry. That's pickup artistry. You got to treat them like like they're disposable. You got to cop and blow. You get one, get another one. Spin plates. That's the average guy can't do that. The short guy can't do that. The ugly guy can't do that. So what guys was she giving the opportunity to over all these? Because keep in mind, she said decades, and she looks older. So let's just give her the benefit of the doubt and say late 30s, mid 30s. So for all these decades, from 15 to 25 to 35, what guys were you giving that opportunity to?
It is not a male loneliness epidemic. It is the consequences of their fucking actions. It is so fucking cliche to cause a problem and then ask someone else to solve it. And women aren't going to. We're not going to solve the male loneliness epidemic because we've been trying to prevent it the entire time we've been dating. And all you had for us was ghosting and dick pics. It took a...
Okay, so she says all you had was ghosting and dick pics. I guess an average guy could send a girl a peen pic, but that would mean he got her number one. Number two, the ghosting. Ghosting insinuates that we're talking and potentially interacting. So if we're talking and we're interacting, how is it that I'm ghosting you if I'm an average guy, which you guys don't date? If I'm not 6 foot and got the six pack and got the money, am I even getting that far to be able to ghost you? No. She's talking about Brad, and she's talking about Chad, and she's talking about Ricky Tan. She's talking about the top tier guy. This is why we don't allow women to just date on their own, because they'll only date the worst guys and they'll only make bad decisions.
Really long time to find out, but that was a lot of fucking around, wasn't it? I don't care. I don't care that men are lonely. Do you know how many times I've been on like seemingly good dates with men and then just never heard from them again?
Okay, she said, do you know how many times I've been on seemingly good dates with good men? Guess what? How many average men have been on so many dates? Because she's saying this like it happens all the time. I've been on so many dates. Well, how many average guys have been on so many dates? Because so many is going to insinuate a lot more than 2 or 3. A lot more than 2 or 3. So she's been on a lot more than 2 or 3 dates. And do we think at any point in time she's giving the average guy? Do you think she's giving the nerd the opportunity? No. No. She's only going for a very particular, because this woman, she looks older. She doesn't look ugly. You know, if she put her makeup on, if she put her war paint on, she would probably look very, you know, she'd probably look really good. And she probably looked really good back in the day, right? So who exactly is she talking about?
Do you know how many times a man has pursued me? I didn't do shit. He pursued me and then disappeared.
So she's getting men to actually pursue her. And then the guy is just, now she's not saying why she disappeared, why the guy disappeared. Did he get anything out of it?
Y'all are lonely? Okay, maybe you should have cashed in on one of the thousands of opportunities that was literally laid at your feet.
Do any of you guys have thousands of opportunities? 'Cause I'm 40, and I can tell you right now, I didn't have no thousands of opportunities. I am 40. I did a decade in the military. I did not have thousands of opportunities. So what kind of guys are getting the thousands of opportunities? See, if you let them talk long enough, they'll tell you everything you need to know.
Oh, we're so lonely. Yeah, why the fuck do you think we were dating, bitch? We were dating to try to find somebody. We were dating to try to prevent loneliness.
They were dating, according to her, not my words, according to her, they were dating to try to find someone. They were dating to try to prevent loneliness. But somehow she couldn't do this within thousands of dates. What? Come on, people. It's too easy. It's too easy. It's way too easy. You had thousands of opportunities, according to her. According to her, men have thousands of opportunities because she's been out with thousands of men, or, you know, it's a euphemism. Men have lots and lots of opportunities because she's had lots and lots of opportunities. So she looks at all men through the lens of herself. Well, I'm dating all these men, so they must be dating all these women. And all these men did me wrong, ghosted me, so that must be what they do with everyone. So you had all these opportunities and you couldn't get one man to sit still and like you. Yet, in her estimation, all men have this ability. If all men have this ability, how is there possibly a male loneliness epidemic? It doesn't make sense. The math don't math.
But men saw it as just a buffet of women to sample, didn't they? But we're not waiting under little heat lamps for you to choose us anymore, are we? No, we became friends with each other, and now we hate you.
We're friends.
Bye.
We're friends with each other, and now we hate you. That's a long-winded way of saying they're lesbians. Do you guys get it now? Do you guys get it now? So the trolls for the win. Love your content, Fred. I appreciate the support. I definitely do. He said, Red said she's being very hyperbolic, and it's not that simple. But in women's minds, it is. See, you guys have to understand. Women look at everything through they don't have that ability. Like when we always say women are empathetic, and that's just not true. We always say women are empathetic, and that's not true. Empathy means, oh, I can fathom the pain you must be going through. That's what empathy means. I can fathom this. I can understand. You can see it from their perspective, and then you can make a potential change or this or that. Women can't see things from men's perspective. They can't see it, right? That's why the dads have to see what and vet the guy she's dating exactly, and he has to say yes or no. You can't date my daughter. Well, see, back in the day when we were a proper society, a dad, a brother, an uncle, a church elder would come by and vet the guy. But we don't have that because we live in a free sexual market where women can do whatever they want. And this is why they make it to 40 after being run through thousands of times, her words, not mine, and they can't find anybody. And now they hate all men and they are friends with each other, right? Meanwhile, how many guys didn't even get to play the game? How many times have you, how many guys didn't even get to play the game? The average guy doesn't get to play the game. Not when you have Tinder and Bumble and all of that stuff and you can swipe right on nothing but perfect men. It's like, what are we talking about? See, this is why I tell you guys, these women, some of these women have kids. So what do you think they're teaching the daughters? Is it now women are the PUAs and doing the ghosting? Well, what they're doing is they're aging out. Women are aging out. And because they have unfettered access to men, but they can't get anybody to commit. And now even the guys that they would have gone back for, those guys are waking up, right? The red pill has woken everybody up. Now everybody knows. Everybody sees it. It's like, wait a minute, this don't make no sense. What do you mean you're 35 and you're single? That don't make no sense. Because men know. Men now know the most dangerous secret that women never wanted us to know, which is that they're not just sitting at home waiting in their room for Prince Charming. They in the streets. We know that now. Is it like we now know? Is it the dating apps make it even worse because of the height standard? Yeah. And see, this is why I say you don't want women to choose. You don't want women choosing of their own free will because they're only going to choose the best guys. It would be so everybody's bloodline is going to die out. Right? Everybody's bloodline is just going to die out. And they want you to be rich and everything like that. But see, now you guys understand why we can't go backwards. Because women don't want to cash out anymore. Right? They don't think that they have to cash out. They all think that they can have that top tier guy. That's why you have this chick. That's why you have this chick.
And are providers.
If you ghost women for decades, what do you...
Ghosting women for decades. She's been ghosted for decades, which means she's been dating for decades. This is what happens. So now, and I don't know if she has any kids, but if this woman has kids, you got to think. You got to really think this is who they want you to date, especially like when you guys start getting older. I don't know how old everybody is. Like I said, I'm in my 40s. They tell me, hey, you're in your 40s, right? Go date this woman. She's had thousands of at-bats. I haven't. So when I start making money, all of a sudden, that's what I'm supposed to cash out with? Meanwhile, we got a OF chick who has a freshly 18-year-old daughter that she herself put on OF, and I'm a creep if I go look at that girl. That's the world we live in. It doesn't make any sense. I'm not playing that game. Elijah said the only way we'll go backwards is a dystopia, post-apocalyptic scenario. You know what's crazy? We ain't going back even then. Like I said it before. Go look at World War II. What happened with the French when the German guys kicked down the door, waving the 4-4, when they started slapping people and putting people to the sword, the French women was like, oh snap, it's serious. Okay, we'll do what y'all want. They was snitching on their husbands. They was telling everybody where the resistance was. They didn't double down. Women don't double down. When the dystopia comes, and you know, so for Elijah, I want you to look at the black community, Elijah. Look at the black community. For the black community, they're already living in a dystopia. Who do the women choose? They choose the worst possible men. They're going to choose the barbarian because that's who can protect them. He said, so there's no good moves. There's good moves. The good move is to bust a move now. While you have the time, you should be maniacal about making a move. This is why I started live streaming. I'm looking at how do I get over there on Twitch and interrupt Kai Cenat's flow. Like, you got to do something. You have to be very maniacal. You have to be obsessed with like being successful and trying to outpace the foolishness so you can get away from it. Now, I mean, if we go to World War III, then we all getting wiped out anyway, so that solves itself. But the best thing you can do is make money and put yourself in a better position. Having leverage and options is always the next move, right? Because you can't depend on society the way we used to. Is it barbarism and coercion, right? Yeah. The coercion and force defeats morals and ethics. And that's why the black community is what it is. He said you should try doing vertical stream as well. Is that what they do on Twitch? I got this is like my fifth. This is like my fifth stream. I'm not a streaming expert. I just know that streaming is like the future of content creation. So if you're getting into it, you don't even need to cut videos. You need to just come in streaming. Just go to Baskin Robbins and stream yourself. And people are going to call you goofy, but you got to get the practice. That's why I'm saying the best move that you guys can make is a money move. Like, you need to understand dating is dead. Society is cooked because we can't hold women accountable. You got to start getting as much as you can and plan your escape, or at least plan to hunker down and not be affected by that. He said on YouTube you can do vertical streams. I know you can do it. Like if I went live, I think it's like through the Shorts app. If you go live, like, will you guys actually see it? Because I know I can't set it up. I can't like put a notification. The black community needs a big reset, man. Man, oh man, like, and see, the black community is exactly why I tell people, like, you got to look at the black community and ask yourself, do you think there's any hope for that community? Like, how would you fix the black community? Whatever your solution would be, that's the same solution for the rest of society. And it would have to be something radical. It would have to be something radical. Like, we're not going backwards. And people just don't get it. I wish more people understood that we can't go backwards. Too many decisions have been made. You have a culture of foolishness. The culture itself is degenerate and ratchet. So you can't just go backwards, because who do you have to, like, okay, let's look at Mexico. Mexico has like the cartel culture and all of that, right? They have all of that going on. And you can't just, like, the only way to defeat that would be like a civil war. But that's what happens when men get out of hand. When men get out of hand, you solve it with force. But in America, the women are out of hand. So how do you solve that? Because you can't just go to war with them. Right?
She thinks you owe her before the date even starts. And people will say, oh, this isn't really true, Jed. Women don't do this. Yes, they do. And they're telling you they do. Yes, they do. This is not some, rare. This is happening all over the place. Trust me. I order the oysters because I want to test the financial vibe. So you didn't order the oysters because you like oysters, which would have been fine. You ordered it to test the guy. How much money does he have? How much money is he willing to spend? Is he at all alarmed that I ordered the oysters and then the beef and then the tuna tartare and then it's a game. It's like a power trip. How is this a good place to start a relationship if you do like him? Oh, I just thought I would spend the first date just testing you. Oh, aren't you peachy? Let me bring you home to mom. No, I don't think so.
All right, that was Jedediah Bila. She's one of the good women in the RP
She thinks
space.
you owe her before the date even starts.
And she's talking about women's entitlement. And she's just talking about how women think that you owe her before the date starts. And she's right. She's right. And this is a cultural thing. Oh, you're supposed to give to me. You're supposed to will me and thrill me. And you're supposed to make me feel a certain type of way. Right? You can't build a relationship with this kind of stuff. Right? You can't build a relationship with any of this. Right? You have women who think before we even go on the date, you're supposed to give me gifts and you're supposed to show up rich. And this date is all about you impressing me. Right? This is what you guys are dating. When you say, oh, I want to find a wife, a lot of times this is what your wife has in her head. In her head, she has it that you exist solely to impress her. You're supposed to be impressing me. You're supposed to be giving me things. I'm supposed to be getting things from you. What do I get from you? It's not about you guys building anything together. You're not getting a woman who's going to build with you. That's not what they want. He said, I wonder if she's really good or if she's a chameleon. I mean, at the end of the day, a woman is always a woman. Right? A woman is always going to be a woman. You can always count on a woman to be a woman. But she doesn't have any controversies. She's as good as can be expected. Let's just say it like that. She's just like Pearl. She's as good as can be expected. Right? Yeah, a lot of women go on dates for the food or whatever else they can get, and not because they like a guy or find him attractive. Yeah, a lot of women do the foodie call thing. They're dating for survival. They dating because they need a burger, or they'll be starving that same night. That's really where we're at. I even see a black woman today. If a black woman say if a man should date her, he has to deposit $1,000 first. I've seen stupid stuff like that. But you guys have to understand, women, they obviously want things. People want things, but they're not looking toward the future. They're not looking to build with you. It's not because they don't want a husband. They have been sold a dream, just like men have been sold a dream. Men have been sold a bad bill of goods, and women have been sold a dream, right? Men have been told, if you do the right things, women will like you and you'll be successful in life and all of this and all of that. And what women have been told is men exist as utilities. They exist to serve you and make you happy. And that's just not the case. So everybody's walking around in delusion. Everybody thinks that the world is about them. Everybody's the main character. Right? You have narcissism at an all-time high. So the question becomes, does anybody want to admit that they're a narcissist? No. Most women aren't going to admit that. And this is one of the reasons why you can't get women to go backwards, because you got to think. These girls jump off the porch, let's say, at 18. They start getting intimate with men, let's just say, at 18. A woman's value at 18 is sky high. So with the internet, what kind of men can she get? At 17, 18, she can get the top tier guys. She can get right on the internet and get a rich streamer. She can get right on Tinder and get a basketball player. She can get on Instagram and everybody has access to her. So you got to think, by the time she's 25, 26, how many people have had access to her who were at that level, who showed up and just gave her money? $1,000 date, $10,000 date. Here's a handbag. Here's this, here's that. I live in San Diego. I'm trying to tell you guys, I see it. All these doctors and these lawyers, the tech guys, all the Indian dudes who work in tech, man, these dudes, they out here hurting people's feelings. These dudes are all making money, and they don't mind paying, right? So by the time you try to date this woman, her expectation is for you to show up, shelling out lots and lots of money. Is it who's the main character? Everybody's the main character. I don't want to say the man or the woman should be the main character. In a society, the kids should be the main character. The children are the main character. The children are the future. As a society, we should be building forward. We should always be thinking, what do we need to do to make a better world for our kids? We don't care about them kids. We don't care about the kids no more. We do not care. Man, hey, them Indian dudes be baking. I be in their neighborhood sometimes, like, and you know what's crazy? They just live nice. They don't even have a bunch of gaudy stuff. They don't have no gaudy stuff. They all drive Teslas. They all drive Teslas and Rivians. Teslas, Rivians, and BMWs. And they just live in their little communities and mind their business. He said everyone has a price, and the important part is figuring out what it is. Pablo Escobar. Yeah. Well, I mean, like women, like they monetize themselves, right? You have the sugar sites. I don't know how many of you guys watch CGA, but he talks about it all the time. Fresh and Fit talk about it all the time. The sugar sites are alive and well, right? Women are on those. It's mainstream now. Like it's mainstream. Like, this is where we are. So we're not going back. Not when women can go to college, and not when they can, when women can put themselves on the internet and they can get money, like at the snap of a finger. Why would they go backwards? Right? Like, that's their whole thing. Why would I go backwards if I don't need to? Superficial observer said there can only be one main character. I agree. That's why I say it should be the children. I say the children of a society should be the main character. The children in a relationship that you have should be the main character. But people don't want that. People don't want it.
Brutally beaten for doing his job. New tonight, a teen is demanding justice after he says customers attacked him at his place of employment in Cordova Sunday evening.
Darcy, the victim is only 17 years old, trying to do his job as a host here at Cheddar's. Now, he said he wants justice for the men responsible for putting him in the hospital and almost taking his life.
I hope they catch you. You're gonna regret what you did.
It was a busy Sunday night at Cheddar's in Cordova until a group of 8 came in for dinner. It was an hour-long wait. The 17-year-old host, who asked we not release his name, said the only option was to separate the party.
The girl in the green, she said she don't like the table, so she'll rather get a big table, so I would say it's still gonna be a free minute, so they left.
He says the group came back and still demanded a bigger table. Then, he says, a man in the group confronted him and punched him in the face.
His whole family came towards me and started jumping me, and then after that, that's when I blacked out. I don't remember nothing.
The victim's mother, Letitia Ford, says once she arrived, she found her son like this, lying on the ground while paramedics were working on him.
For these people to be, twice his size, that's unacceptable. That's very unacceptable.
Memphis police say the suspects left the restaurant in this large white SUV. We reached out to Cheddar's corporate office for answers.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
We didn't get a response, but Ford says she was not happy with the way the restaurant handled the situation.
Corporate called me, and the only thing they asked was, did we need any food? I don't want any food. I want justice for my son.
All right. So you guys see, we got the black community shining bright like a diamond. Let me see if I can stop it right here. Okay. Do you guys see what happens when women take over societies? This is what happens. You got one man. You got one man and three women beating up a 17-year-old. Why? Over food. Now, see, here's the problem. These three women, they've gone their entire lives not being held accountable. Their moms never held them accountable. Their fathers didn't hold them accountable. The teachers didn't hold them accountable. Then you got this man. He was probably raised by a single mom who was never held accountable. So all he knows is crashing out on behalf of women. They go to this restaurant, something happens. This guy decides, I'm going to beat this much smaller person up because he's offended these women. This is the society we live in, where we have, this is the other component that you guys have to be ready for. You got to be ready for crash out culture. You have to be ready for crash out culture to increase, right? These women, none of them are attractive, but what kind of person did they surround themselves with? All three of them have decided, we're going to go out with this crash out just in case something happens. This happens all the time. Women do this all the time. They do it all the time. They make sure, like these, let's just say, and these women, it said they hopped into a car and they left, and it was a white Suburban. I don't know, maybe it was a rental, whatever the case might be. These women probably have access to a decent man in their life. There's probably somebody who wants to get with them. I mean, I certainly wouldn't be me, but they choose to surround themselves with the dude who's willing to throw his life away over whatever kind of food they serve at Cheddar's. Is that what's worse is that no one can hold them accountable, as there is always someone who will praise their behavior. Not only is there somebody who will praise their behavior, mostly women, but there's going to be somebody who defends it. In this case, the guy. He's defending it. See, this is why I tell you guys, don't think that you can save society. Because if you want to save society, you have to hold it accountable first. You got to hold the mirror up and say, look, people, this is what we've become. We're horrible. We need to change. Well, there's always some monkey simp, some simp enforcer out here that's willing to crash out and do anything to please the women. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how it works. Elijah said, I saw some thugtavious behaviors. Some thugtavious behaviors when I was a cook at an all-night diner in Texas, and we had to get the cops involved. You typically can't get a lot of black people in one spot and get them to act right. It's almost impossible. But this is the reason why. Because most black people are raised without a father. And when they are raised with a father, in today's day and age, in 2025 and beyond, you can bet that father's a crash out. He's like a toxic nice guy, right? His whole identity revolves around being a crash out for his family. Like, even if he's not a criminal, like, these guys are raised to think that crashing out on behalf of the black woman is somehow noble and applaudable. It's a sickness. But this goes back to, I forget the guy who said, maybe when some sort of apocalyptic stuff starts to happen, we'll go back to traditionalism. When the society collapses, Negroes like that are going to reign supreme. They're going to have harems because they're willing to crash out and do stupid stuff. That's where women are going. Whoever this guy is, Jamal, Jabari, Glocktavius, whatever his name is, that's where women are going to go. And see, this is why women don't go backwards, because they think that they always have a path forward. Oh, if this happens, I'm going to just get with a guy like this. I'm going to get with a gorilla type dude. He said there were more of them than us working that shift. And I'm going to tell you something. When you're dealing with I'm going to say black women, but it's all women. When you're dealing with women and they're bigger than you, like you see these big, thick neck women, they think that they can whoop you. They think that they can beat you in a fight. So they'll attack you. They will definitely attack them. He said, a dude said, you got to maintain attraction. And what they are attracted to is violent men. That's 100% true. Men will do this, then women will pretend they didn't encourage this by their selection/deselection process. That is 100% true. Women know when they're programming a crash out. They know how to program a crash out. This goes back to what I was talking about with plausible deniability. They're not you'll never see a woman say, hey, well, you might, but you'll rarely see a woman say, hey, go whoop this dude. It happens, but for the most part, it's, you ain't gonna talk to me like that. You just gonna talk to me like that? And that's the dog whistle to get the guy to go over there and throw his life away, right? So this is why you have all these violent black dudes, because these dudes grow up seeing their mom crash out. They grow up seeing their sister crash out, right? I don't know how many of you guys follow my early stuff on my channel, but I told you the story about the black girls I grew up with that kept trying to fight me because they had all their brothers, right? For those who don't know, I'm from a small town in Ohio, and when I was growing up, these kids from Cleveland moved down. Now, in the town that I lived in, whenever there was a problem, we would fight, right? And and the town was small. We had one high school. There used to be a Kmart. I don't think it's there no more. Now we got a Walmart. But we had one high school. We had a Kmart on one end, a Walmart on the other end. There was like a Hills. I don't know if y'all know what Hills is. There was like a McDonald's. There was one hospital. We don't even have a hospital in that town no more. That's how small it is, right? So the town was so small. Everybody went to the football game on Friday. Everybody went to the car shows on Saturday nights. Everybody was going to be in the same place at the same time, generally speaking. We had 2 parks that everybody went to, right? And it was both by my house. So if I got into a beef with somebody, it was 100% chance I was going to see you, or you was going to see me. So fighting was what we did. And keep in mind, we're talking about like kids. We're like 8th grade, 7th grade. Like we're not like grown. So these kids moved down from Cleveland when I'm in like my 9th grade year. These kids moved down from Cleveland, and these kids was from Cleveland is a major city, and they be killing, right? So they are real thugs. These are thugs. So all of these kids moved down. It's like a family of like 25, and they're living in these 2 houses. Don't ask the logistics. But the girls, it was like 4 girls maybe, and like 11 boys. And these boys, long story, let me jump to the end. These boys ended up going to prison. Every one of them caught a body. Every one of them went to jail for murder. But that just gives you an insight as to what they were. It's like all of them except like 2 or 3, right, out of like 11. So these kids end up going to prison for murder at the end of the day. But while we were growing up, their sisters would just roam the streets and pick fights with dudes. And they loved to pick fights with me. Now, the reason they like to pick fights with me, I was bigger than the average kid. I started working out when I was 12, so I was like swole dude, and I wrestled. So everybody was like intimidated, but they didn't want to be intimidated. They were like, I'll beat you up. So these girls would they would pick fun of me, and they would try to fight me, but I couldn't do nothing because they would just call their brothers, and it was like a bunch of them, right? And I would end up getting jumped. So I just had to let them pick on me. Even though it's like, bro, I will power bomb you through the cement, right? So that was like my first experience with women weaponizing the men around them. But it wasn't just them. It was every girl I knew. Every girl I knew did that. But you guys see this in real life with the crash outs. This is why I always tell you guys, stop protecting women, because you will go to prison and they won't care. Them girls, all their brothers and cousins are in prison and they don't care. They out living their life and they in prison for life. Like, so women will use you up, and then when you crash out, oh, I didn't tell him to do that. And they'll sleep like a baby. They ain't missing no Z's. Not a single one. They in the bed like them two dudes in Sesame Street. Just comfortable. And you over there doing life on the Green Mile. They're not gonna care. So this is why I tell you guys, we're not going backwards, because women would rather contribute to crash out culture, and they would rather put their life in the hands of crash outs than to get back in the kitchen and make some sourdough. He said they threw their lives away for nothing. Exactly. And man, I'm telling you, they caught these bodies before they was even 25. They might have caught them bodies before 22. Like right after high school, which none of them graduated. It was like 3 of them caught a body. Like just back to back to back. And their sisters all got pregnant as teenagers, and right. But if you guys think that we're going backwards, we're not. And this is why, because women they typically don't have to. There's always a guy willing to either save them or crash out for them. And how can you really control them? Because women are behind this. So are we going to hold the women accountable who were probably hooting and hollering and driving the situation forward? Or are we only going to be mad at the man who likely beat the kid up? Like, who do you hold accountable? Me personally, I say everybody. But do you think black women are going to hold those black women accountable? Nope. Women typically don't hold each other accountable, so this kid just got whooped on for nothing. Let's move on.
Our safety still trumps the difficulty you might have in finding a partner.
In case you guys are wondering, once again, OBS is messing up. It is dropping frames like nobody's business. So if this thing drops out, you know why.
And I think that just has to be the way it is.
If men take away one thing, if all of the men who are lamenting the fact that they can't just chat up and ask out women they don't know in public anymore learn one thing here, it's this: her safety trumps your comfort. Her ability to go about her day, to move through the world without having to look over her shoulder the whole time to see if there's somebody nearby who could help if things go wrong, without having to plan for an escape or a way to defend herself if it comes to that, is more important than the confusion you feel over whether or not this is an appropriate time to talk to this woman you don't know. More important than your awkwardness or discomfort. And so long as we live and operate within a misogynistic society, that's just the way it's got to be.
Our safety.
Okay. I'm not going to say that this woman is wrong. She's right, right? A woman's safety does trump a man's comfort, right? We want to make sure women are safe. But you guys have to understand, women can say anything is dangerous. And it's like, because there's so many weirdo guys, because there's so many weirdo men, and men are not allowed to police men anymore, realize we don't live in a proper society. In a proper society, when we have people acting stupid, like you guys see the pranksters and stuff like that, in a proper society, when people act stupid, they get a knuckle sandwich. We don't live in that society anymore, because women want to be able to act stupid too, and they don't want to get the knuckle sandwich. So we don't live in that kind of society. So it's hard to protect women. Because of that, women do get attacked. They do get stalked and harassed and this and that. Okay. This is all the more reason why you guys should not be approaching women. This is all the more reason. Because in their eyes, everything is dangerous. everything is dangerous. Meanwhile, they only date the dangerous guys. They only like the dangerous guys, right? But in their eyes, oh, everything is so dangerous. Now, I want to ask you guys, do you guys honestly think that the world is dangerous if the guy is hot and tall? Power to Flame King, thanks for the $2, man. It says Blue Pill Joe in the clutch again. Hey, man, there's always a Blue Pill Bobby floating around. There's always a simp enforcer floating around. Man, you know what's crazy? Like dude said, she says a dude who is unattractive is a danger, but a literal serial abuser is salvageable. That's how it is. Like, women only go after the most dangerous guys. Now, I'm not saying that clears anything. I'm not saying that that's okay. What I'm saying is, when you see the kinds of men that women choose, they choose the guy who is dangerous. Now, that doesn't mean that men aren't dangerous in society. I'm going to actually show you guys a video of that, right? I got a sister, I have a mom. I know that men can be creepy, right? There are creepy guys. But this is all the more reason why men need to be given the tools to correct those people, right? Punching somebody in the face for being stupid shouldn't be illegal, but it is. And see, this is the problem. Women say everything is about their safety. Oh, safety, safety, safety. Well, how do we protect you? You got to tell men to stop being creeps. You can't tell men anything. What did I say about men? When men get out of control, you fix it with force. What did I say about Mexico? You can't put the cartels down without a civil war. What did I say about the black community? You can't fix it without going kinetic. You would have to subjugate those people. You can't control creepy men unless you give good men the power to slap people. But we don't want that power because women don't want to be the ones getting slapped. And they don't want their little baby getting slapped, right? So this is once again, society is worse off because we allow women to just freely roam in society and do as they see fit. It's made everything worse. Hard Nine says, I disagree. I don't see why it should be men's duty to provide safety for women when they are not fulfilling their biological role, contributing to the continuation to society. Well, that's what's going on now, right? Like even me, I preach a message of don't throw your life away for random women. So I agree with you. What I'm simply saying is if we want a better society, we have to give men the ability to correct other men. But in that correcting of other men, women are going to get corrected too. And that's why they don't want to fix society, because they know the real problem is women. I don't hate women. I'm just simply saying the real problem in today's society is that we can't control women. If you said, okay, every state in the United States is now open carry, and if somebody is out there acting stupid, you are allowed to subdue that person, right? If you had that kind of thing going on and you just allowed it, society would fix itself very carefully or very quickly because people would be more careful with how they conduct themselves. They know, hey, an armed society is a polite society, a society that's allowed to enact violence against somebody, some ne'er-do-well, some guy just acting stupid. That's going to be a polite society. But the problem is, what have we been saying this whole time? Women don't go backwards. They're not going to want to go back to a polite society. They want a society where they can turn up, be ratchet, and act stupid. That's the problem. They don't want to go backwards, right? They absolutely don't want to go backwards. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about.
Let's count how many times they're told to go away.
Yeah, I'm asking you to leave. I'm respectfully asking you to go to another table. There are plenty of tables, like there's that one over there that you guys could go to. Because I'm not, go away. Go. Begging, on my knees, go.
It's just like
it's our table.
It's just weird for you to just sit down with us. Like
go to the table where there's no people. Right there. You see that? Guys, there's no one over there. You should go sit there. I think you should go sit there. Look, it's crying. It has no people at its table. You guys need to go over there. That's good. We are both in relationships, and I'd love if you'd leave. Go away, please. Go. 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 Do you want me to spill your Guinness on you? Because I will. Go. 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 Go away. I'm asking you to fucking leave. Go. 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 I guess we'll go then. You want our table? We'll go. 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 Leave. I'm asking you to fucking leave. Go. Get away. Witch. Witch. Go.
What's the end game here? Like, that's what drives me nuts. Like, after the 10th time they're told to leave, what is the thought process behind a man like that? Like, is he truly thinking like, hey, if I sit here longer, she'll eventually change her mind and I'll have a chance with her? I don't know what to do anymore. I'm trying, y'all. I'm trying.
And see, that's what I'm talking about. Those guys, in a proper society, those guys would have caught a clothesline from hell. Right? Somebody would have just came off the top rope and took them out. But we don't live in a proper society. And it's not because men are violent. It's because you have women who have sons who act stupid, and then those sons go out there and they get dealt with, and then they sue the city. The woman, oh, you deleted my little Johnny. You deleted Glocktavius, right? Because women can freely choose the men that they get with. They get with the worst men. The worst men leave them as a single mother. They raise this kid with no with no instructions. They raise this kid with no kind of bearing. They raise those kinds of guys who have never been told no, stop, and don't. And then when somebody deletes that person, the mom wants to sue. Let's say the deletion happens in his teenage years, right? This happens a lot. A lot of it's from the black community, with black kids getting into trouble with cops, and, you know, there's a wrongful death and the cop gets sued, city has to pay. This happens 1 time, 10 times, 50 times. City is bankrupt, right? It happens over and over. So what happens? The laws change. This is why our bystander laws have changed drastically, right? So now you have this kind of stuff happening. These women are out enjoying a night on the town. They're not dancing. They're not dressed provocative. They're not doing anything. They're trying to eat. They're trying to eat. And they have to deal with this. So the question is, how do we fix this? The only way you make those guys not do that is with force. But we don't live in a society that allows us to use force. Right? It said, but they don't own the table. But they were sitting there and they were asking those guys to leave. I mean, if that was your mom or your sister, you would feel a type of way. Right? Pyro the Flame King said, because my little Johnny can never do no wrong. So you got to think about what would happen if those guys were like 16, 17, maybe 18. They're at a mall or they're someplace else and they're doing that to teenage girls. This is why women always say life is so dangerous for us. This is why they say it. Right? It said, Elijah said, the odds are a lot of rapists originate in fatherless homes. I don't know, but I wouldn't doubt it. Because people who do the raping, it's all about power. Right? It's not even about the act itself. It's all about the power. And those guys wanted to have power. Right? So it's one of those things where we live in a society where people are less safe, but it's almost exclusively because of the things we've allowed women to do. Now, I'm not necessarily blaming women. I'm just simply saying there's cause and effect. And he said, and yes, women are more likely to say, my kid would never do that, and especially single mothers. 100%. 100%. 100%. And pyro. Women love power, so it makes sense. Yeah. So you guys have to understand, it's more beneficial for women to have the power to act a fool in society. And it's more beneficial to them than it is for us to have a safe society. Because a safe society means that there's rules and structure. Women don't want that. They don't want rules and structure. They just don't want bad things to happen to them. So the question becomes, how do we fix this? We don't. This is why I keep telling you, we're not going backwards. Right? We're not going backwards. There's never going to come a time where we can fix that particular situation. Is it unless Western women become worthy of men providing them safety, there's no reason to judge those two guys you are criticizing in the restaurant video clip. I'm not criticizing. What I'm simply saying is this is what happens when society slips. Right? Now I'm not going to sit up here and say that they were right for what they did. I'm going to say there's a possibility that they were drunk and not perceiving the situation the way they should have. I'm going to say they should, like, as soon as you sit down and you try talking to these girls and they say go away, you should have left. Right? You should. Even if women aren't worthy, that doesn't mean that they're worthy of harassment. Right? You don't get to just harass women just because you don't like them. Right? One thing I don't do is red pill rage. I do not tolerate red pill rage. There's a lot of guys who figure out the nature of women, and their first instinct is to cheer every time a woman is put in a bad situation. I don't do that. That's not me. I believe women should be safe in society. I just don't believe in throwing my life away for them because of what society has become. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. So now, like I said, if we're going to roll back the restrictions on punching people in the face, okay. Right? But like I said, I live in an extremely liberal city. I live in San Diego. You can't do nothing. You can't do anything. You go out there and try to protect somebody, you're going to prison. Right? Is it a dude? Is it they are strong women? Those men should tremble in fear. Yeah, they should be trembling in fear. They should be trembling in fear. I mean, somebody said they missed it. Amanda Mendoza, I missed it. I'll replay it for Amanda.
Let's count how many times they're told to go away.
Yeah, I'm asking you to leave. I'm respectfully asking you to go to another table. There are plenty of tables, like there's that one over there that you guys could go to. Because I'm not, go away.
It's true.
Go, begging, on my knees, go.
It's just like,
it's our table.
It's just weird for you to just sit down with us. Like,
go to the table where there's no people, right there. You see that? Guys, there's no one over there. You should go sit there. I think you should go sit there. Look, it's crying. It has no people at its table. You guys need to go over there. That's good. We are both in relationships, and I'd love if you'd leave. Go away, please. Go. Do you want me to spill your Guinness on you? Because I will. Go away. I'm asking you to fucking leave. Go. I guess we'll go then. You want our table? We'll go. Go. Leave. I'm asking you to fucking leave. Go. Get away. Witch. Go.
What's the end game here?
So you see that's what I'm saying, right? That no woman deserves that. Like even if women are this or if they're that, like if you can dislike women all you want, they don't deserve that, right? Because that's exactly what women are talking about. Society's unsafe. That's living proof that society is unsafe for women. But the only way to make it safe is to rein everybody in. Everybody has to be reined in. Women included. The problem is most women, they would say, I would rather take my chances with random men than to be reined in by all men, even if all men are going to be reined in by righteous men. Let's just assume the righteous men do the reining in, right? So it's kind of one of those things. Me personally, I don't mind protecting a woman if I'm actually going to be justified in doing it. But if there's not, like, if I'm going to go to prison for it, like, because like you see, none of those guys react. I don't know what city this takes place in, but none of those guys react. And they don't react because they can't. Like, they can't do anything. Because if they run over, and those dudes look to be foreign. So I don't know where they're from. Maybe where they're from, women can't say no, right? I don't know where they're from, but it looks like one of those situations where a reason, like, nobody even lifted up their head. Like, so they might be in a liberal city. They might be in a blue city. And if they're in a blue city, the men in blue cities aren't necessarily weak. They're not necessarily beta. They know the law. Like, most people in a blue city are actually quite scholastically intelligent. They know the law. They know there's going to be a penalty if they go over there and, drop kick one of these guys. But that's what I'm saying, right? So you guys have to stop thinking that we're going to go back to good times. Crash outs. Now, if those dudes had a crash out kind of guy with them, this would not have happened. And that brings us back to the news story about the young man getting beat up, right?
Our safety.
A few weeks ago, I said I don't.
Where am I at?
Brutally beaten for doing his job. New tonight, a teen is demanding justice after he says customers attacked him at his.
All right, that brings us back here. That all brings us back to these three women who are walking around with this guy. They're going out for a night on the town with this guy, and this guy is their enforcer. This is why women keep enforcers, right? Women would rather say, I would rather society be dangerous to where I can get myself a personal enforcer than for me to give up the ability to have a personal enforcer and be at the mercy of any and every guy. Right? So it's just where we are as a society, and we're not going backwards. Most women, they don't want to go backwards. The freedom trumps the safety, because America was never necessarily safe. When a lot of times when women say America's not safe, they point to stuff like the 70s where we had like this explosion in serial deleters. But the 70s was also the same time when we had an extreme rise in women's sexual liberation. So the two things kind of walk hand in hand. But when you tell them that, then they say, oh, so you're saying it's our fault. And it's like, how bad do I want to fight today? Right? A dude who said, I went to help a woman I thought was being raped by the screaming when I was like 21. Then come to find out they were screaming grape jokingly because they were drunk. Hey, I mean, at the end of the day, living in a place like California, I know I can't help you. I can't help you. Right? Elijah said if you're going to do cold approaches, just cold approach people in general and learn and sharpen social conversation skills and learning to read other people. Yeah, you can do that. Go, if you want to learn cold approach, go approach 10 random people a day and just gauge it. But in today's day and age, man, talking to people is hard because younger people are very, they haven't been properly socialized. They really haven't been properly socialized. Right? A dude who said, imagine if I had just started being violent in response. Could have started swinging, trying to save her, and been in the wrong the whole time. Yeah. But see, like that brings us back to the whole situation. That brings us back to the whole situation of how our society got here. Like, how did this society get here? Right? Now, keep in mind, I don't blame women for all of this because weak men allow women to do this. Right? Weak men who didn't have access to women, they couldn't get sexual access, but let's say they were the nerds, they were the dweebs, they were writing all the laws. They were the ones who were like, oh yeah, let's give women all the power that they want. Let's give women all these freedoms. and they thought it was going to benefit them, right? They were going to wear that as a badge of honor, like, oh, I'm a legislator and I voted yes on proposition whatever, and it still never worked out for them, because even feminists like tall men, even feminists like tall, handsome men. They don't like those short, sniveling cowards, right? Women love guys who are disagreeable. I mean, they want the guy to be agreeable to some extent, but they love those disagreeable jerk types. They don't like the sniveling cowards, and most weaker men, they tend to be sniveling cowards and I'll do anything you say. I'll do anything for you. Like, man, women don't like that. They don't like that. Yeah, weak men in powerful positions that have ruined the world. Right? Weak men in powerful positions will ruin society, and that's what's happened. And that's why you can't go back, because all the strong men, we don't want strong men. We don't want strong men, right? And most women want strong men in the bedroom, but not necessarily from a standpoint of, tell me what to do and set the rules and set the tones. Because a strong man is not necessarily strong. Is mental, it's emotional, it's spiritual, right? It's not necessarily the guy is 6'5" and got abs and a big old thick beard and all that. Not like that. All right. Let's see if we got some more.
I do not know what the fuck is wrong with people today. This is specifically about women, right? And I can usually tell beforehand if it's going to happen, but whenever I say, hey, how's it going? And I'm passing by and we lock eyes and then you just stare at me and turn your face the other way. What's wrong? Who raised you? And like I said, I can almost always tell if it's the type of chick that's going to do this before I say hi, because I almost don't do it. And I'm like, you know what? No, I'm a nice person. I like to say hi to people, brighten their day a bit. And so I do it anyways, and then it bites me in the fucking ass. And they even do it sometimes whenever you hold the door for them as well. They'll just look at you and not say anything and just walk away. And it's like, I don't do it for the thank you, so I do it anyways for everybody. It doesn't matter. But at the same time, I see a lot of women that wonder why men don't approach women anymore. And this is why. And I know it's not just me either. It's a universal thing amongst men, because most other guys that I talk to about this kind of thing, they say they just stopped saying anything, stopped opening the door, and stopped being nice in general. And that's what a lot of women confuse with guys not wanting to approach and stuff like that. It's just they kind of gave up. And like I said too, you can usually tell what type of chick it is before you even say it. They just radiate this negative, like egotistical type of energy off of them. And it's almost like they're taking the thank you or, holding the door open for them or whatever it is as like you hitting on them. It's like, no, you're just saying hi. But then I always see women say that you can't be nice to men because they always take it as you hitting on them. But it's like the reverse is true just as much. I do not know.
My mic is muted. My mic is muted. So what I was saying is, this guy, this is exactly what we're talking about. Right? This is what we're talking about. What happened to my mic? What happened to my microphone? Hold on. All right, can y'all hear me now? Yep. All right. Let me know. Okay, y'all can hear me. Cool. No, so this is what I'm talking about. So when women say that the world is dangerous, this is what they're talking about. Right? This is the so-called nice guy. Right? This is the so-called nice guy. And this looks like a pretty swole guy. He looks like he drinks his creatine and does his push-ups. And this guy is talking about he's out and about, and he'll see a woman and he'll nod his head, say hi, and she won't say anything. And this is bothering him. First of all, nobody owes you that, number one. Number two, think about this from the standpoint of your sister or your mom or your girlfriend. Like some random guy gets mad because they don't say hi when he's out and about, right? This guy is he's a red pill rager. Like his content is, it's critical of women, which a lot of people's are, but this is what we call red pill rage. And this is why I tell you guys, you have to have an action item. This whole learning the truth about women and then getting pissed off. No. You learn the truth about women and then you step back. Like, oh, women are like this. Okay, now step back. Learn a little bit more, stay back, let it sink in, let it marinate, and then develop an action plan for yourself to put yourself in a better position to be able to deal with women from an elevated position, right? No matter what the problem is, if you deal with it with more leverage and options, you have a better outcome. But most men, they don't want to take any steps. This is why I'm telling you guys, take steps to better yourself, because you can't get out of red pill rage otherwise. A lot of men are red pill raging on women and they don't even qualify for the damn woman. You don't qualify for a woman, let's say, and then you're mad at women because you listen to Rollo Tomasi or Fresh and Fit. But it's like, bro, even if women didn't act like that, they wouldn't choose you. Like that's a lot of red pill guys. And that's why I say, you can't get stuck in this cycle. Do not get stuck in the cycle of red pill rage, because you end up seeming like this guy. And this guy inevitably.
Let's count how many times they're told to go away.
Yeah, I'm respectfully asking you to go to another table.
This is how you get these kinds of people. This is how you get it. And so Red Kyle said he expects manners. It's like, yeah, but at the same time, there's a lot of men who they mistake manners for flirtation. Like that's a real thing. Like I don't want to be just critical of women and then not say the truth about men. That's hypocritical. This is one of the reasons why women aren't going to go backwards, because we live in a society where it's a lot harder for women to be taken advantage of. They can cancel you now. Now they can cancel you. Now they can blast you on the internet, right? So when you say, well, we need to get rid of social media, women don't want to get rid of social media. This is one of the reasons why, right? This is one of the reasons why, because it acts as a safety mechanism. Red pill rage is going to be captured on social media. So then they can say, oh, look at these red pillars. Look at these Andrew Tate guys. And then all of a sudden, boom. This is where you get the legislation in, in the UK, where Andrew Tate is banned on all platforms and everything like that. And they're doing re-education of young men. All right? The dude said red pill rage is, in most cases, a necessary stage in order to get to further stages. We have to accept an amount of red pill rage, but he is slightly annoyed not raging in this. Well, red pill rage is natural, right? It's natural. It's the most natural part. But you guys have to understand, when it comes to you being a man and a woman being involved in any capacity, if there's anger towards the woman, they see it as, he's dangerous. Like anytime you're upset, a woman thinks you're dangerous. Because there does exist the possibility that you could, act like King Kong. But that's one of the detriments of the red pill. You're never going to separate a man's anger from his capacity to do violence. And women know that. So what they're going to say is, oh, these red pillars are dangerous. This is why they always say the red pillars are dangerous. And it's really not the red pillars. It's like the incels and all those kinds of people. But they say we're dangerous. At the same time, they don't want things to be reined in. This is why I say you guys have to give up hope that society is going to go back to normal, because it's not. Women don't want it to go back to normal. Right? The restaurant women are not a good example, because if they were that feral, they would have complained to the manager or called the cops. Ah, man, we're gonna have to do a whole video on that. Complain to the cops instead of recording for social media. That's not necessarily true. Like there is this expectation that when women get harassed, the first thing they do is go to the cops. When in fact, when women are in danger, the first and most likely thing they're going to do is panic, and they shut down, and they don't right? They just shut down. Right? Women don't, they like that. The logical thing to do would be to tell the manager and stuff like that. A lot of times women don't do logic. Like they have enough fight in them because they're together to tell the guys to go away, but they don't have enough logic to say, because you got to think they have to get up from the table. To go get the manager, they have to get up. You saw what happened as soon as the woman got up. She said, okay, you can have our table, we'll leave. And the guy scooted over as though to intercept her. Right? That's what happened. Let's see.
Oh, I guess we'll go then. You want our table? We'll go. Go.
He just he will go, and he scoots over because he's about to intercept her. Right? We're not going to argue that these guys are creepy. These guys are creepy. And we're not going to argue that these girls deserved it. That's not what we're going to do. I'm not a red pill rager. I don't do that. A dude said red pill rage equals crash out. Right? So yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're crashing out. Right? A lot of times red pill rage just means these guys who get angry and they're posting crazy comments. Like, the idea that these women are doing something wrong is preposterous. They can't just get up. The guy is going to block them in. You see, this restaurant is not all that crowded. So we don't know where the servers are. We don't know where the management is. And you see nobody is looking over there because there's music bumping. So people might not even hear what's going on. Right? People might not even hear what's going on. So no, those girls are in danger and they don't know what to do. So they're, maybe I should do this. So they just whip out the phone, because the phone puts you instantly on a crowd. The phone means an instant crowd. I can go live. Boom. Just like that. I got an instant crowd of however many people. And if you do something to me, I already have you on camera. Right? He said that is not equal symbol from a language like that. The not equals, yeah. So he's saying the red pill rage does not equal a crash out necessarily. Yeah, he's right. Red pill rage doesn't mean that somebody's about to flip out and do something crazy. It just speaks to the mindset. So this is why I'm saying there's a lot of men who are there's men who are the problem. There just are. There are men who are the problem. And there are women who are the problem as well. Like I showed you the video. The girl is over here. The girl is over here. She's 18 years old and her mom has her on OF. Right? The girl's 18 and she's on OF. You have men who are the problem. You have women who are the problem. It goes both ways. What I'm telling you guys to do is put yourself in the best position to outpace this. Put yourself in the best position to walk past this. Put yourself in the best position to not have to deal with this. Gain leverage, gain options. Have the willingness to use it. Because you really can't do anything. Dude, he said, look at me. I'm the problem now. The trolls win boy said, I went from red pill rage to black pill mindset to pragmatic approach to life. Yeah, I mean, that's the right way to go. Like, you just don't want to let the anger swallow you up, because you will end up crashing out eventually. Like, you will eventually end up crashing out. You see it with some of these faker, lesser successful red pill guys. I just want you guys to understand we're not walking backwards. All right? I want you guys to understand we're not walking backwards. I want you guys to put yourself in a better position, right? If you guys are into content, make some content. 30 days. Just do it. Go hard for 30 days. If you have a job and you can work overtime for 30 days and stack all that money up. Don't spend it on nothing. Make some sort of effort to put yourself in a better position, because we're not going backwards. Not now, not ever. And there's a lot of reasons why, but we're just not going backwards, right? Mostly because women do have a big prominent voice in our society, and they don't want to go backwards. They have too many benefits. The benefits of today's modern society far outweigh the consequences when it comes to women. Like, there's consequences, but you guys have to understand, women win and they lose, but they do both of those things they do the losing on the back end. Women win up front. They don't lose until way later, so they think that they can figure it out, and some of them do. But this is why I always say, cash out before you crash out. If a woman can cash out before she crashes out in life, then she wins, no matter how much degeneracy she involves herself in, because she cashed out. Cashing out inherently means she got out at her highest point, and she got out on a positive note. Now, a lot of women don't do that, but they would rather roll the dice. Most women would rather roll the dice than play in a structure that doesn't benefit them, the way they're being benefited now. Benefited. I don't really see the benefit, but So I'm not going to keep you guys forever, because I got to do some things this weekend. I got to go pick up my new computer. You guys, thank you for tuning back in. We had some issues with OBS. OBS was beefing with me. It dropped the stream. We came back. You guys are rocking with me. Thank you for the donations. Please, a dude's dude. Dude, I don't know how to pronounce your name. It's messing me up. Please come back. I like having you in the chat. Keep the conversation going. I will see you guys Monday. And I probably won't do a weekend stream, so it'll probably just be Monday. All right, people. I'm going to get up out of here. Peace.